Yes, y'all. It's another Saturday night. Therefore, it's another Saturday night Shoot the Breeze. I want to thank everyone who tunes in on a regular. I want to thank everyone who will be here tonight participating on the panel. Those of you who will be here on the chat. And shout out to you guys who are in the playback. Make sure if you're in the playback, you leave some comments, some questions. Ask the panelists or myself for some further discourse. I see the Pro Black Perspective out there saying one, even before I ask it. That's how I like it. I appreciate it. That means you can hear me. Before we start the show officially, I want to give you guys a heads up as to what we have going on tonight. We're going to look at the recent debacle, if you will, surrounding the AIPAC. I posted about it on my community tab, so you guys should check that out. But in terms of Cori Bush and her district primary loss, we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about, I saw this a couple weeks ago, and I was just shaking my head. We're going to talk about how young Black folks knew how to go out there and show out for the powers that be when a suspect, a Black suspect in a crime was picked up. They were out there throwing blows on this guy. Meanwhile, Zimmerman is alive and kicking, untouched, and in fact, a celebrity. We're going to look at how Europeans destroy nature, whereas Africans nurture nature. We're going to look at a scenario of Black people still looking at Black people through blue eyes in 2024. And we're going to have one of those relationship topics tonight. One of those, what do you call those? One of those swirling type relationships where a white woman is talking about the difference between her to a Black man versus the Black woman that he was with in the past. All of those things tonight for Shoot the Breeze. I see Real Black Gentlemen is out there saying graces, fam. Appreciate you, Real Black Gentlemen. I haven't seen you in a while. I feel like it's been a few weeks since I've seen you. Good to see you. So that's what we have in store for you guys tonight. What we'll do now is we'll start the show officially. While we're doing that, I would like you to please share the link to your social media. Share the link to your social media. And also, hit the Cash App. I usually don't even bring it up, but hit the Cash App. You know, hit the Cash App. So the Cash App is $bitter, MEDZ, Bitter Meds. So hit the Cash App. So on the other side of the intro, I will draw up Shoot the Breeze topic number one, as well as welcome in any and all of my panelists. Shout out to Anthony McPhail. He said he'll be on in a bit. So we'll see you in a bit, Anthony. You guys do stay tuned for more in a second.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio. Welcome to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, where it's all about Black empowerment. Our show focuses on Black news and entertainment, arts, science, economics, history, people, and strategies that uplift, empower, and motivate Africans within the diaspora. And now, your host, whose favorite color is black, Goku.
Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Koku. Just want to remind you guys before we get the show rolling that this show is part of a podcast network called KWAZ Radio. There are other shows on the network you are invited to tune into.
This is D Webb with the Harsh Reality Podcast, asking you to tune in where we tackle the news of the day that affects our community, only on KWAZ Radio.
Peace, family. This is Oni, inviting you to listen to the Pro-Black Perspective, where black problems are addressed with black solutions.
Greetings, fam. Tune in to The Learning Curve with me, the Revolutionary Matron on KWAZ Radio.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
I've got to update that intro. Also, make sure you tune into Brother Bakari. Tune into the forecast. I got to mute that. Tune into the forecast radio. He's usually on with Considerate Cheek. Tune into her as well whenever she comes back on. I haven't seen the matron in a minute. Has anyone seen the matron or heard from the matron recently? And also our newer member of KWAZ Radio. Make sure you guys are tuned into Kofi, the Black Critic. He was on the other night with some of those guys. I can't remember the name of the show, but it's a lot of FBA ADOS types on that show. And Kofi be out there. He'd be out there putting up with them folks, man. But shout out to all of them guys too. So shout out to everyone on KWAZ Radio. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and subscribe to all of those different podcast channels as well. With that said, let me introduce my first and only panelist tonight, Oni from the Pro-Black Perspective. How are you this week?
I'm cool. How are you, man?
I'm good. Thanks for coming through. Without further ado, let me welcome in Bwana Hagaziki this week. Bwana, how are you?
Koku, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry, I'm late. I had yard work, so sorry I'm late. I'm here.
Yeah. Nah, you ain't late, man. It's all good. I appreciate you coming through. And our boy Jose Bronze is here tonight. Jose, how are you?
I'm okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, I'm okay. I'm awake. I'm awake and okay. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm good. Thanks for coming through, as usual. So, without further ado, shout out to Anthony who said he'll be on later. I'm sure Real Black Gentleman will be around. Shout out to Black Steel and all the guys who usually come up. If any ladies want to come up, click the link. You are welcome to come up and join the conversation. Without further ado, let's get into it. Shoot the Breeze topic number 1 tonight. Shoot the Breeze topic number 1 says, is this a good example of democracy? Of course, this came with a link. In fact, it came with several links, so we'll go through all of them. The first link takes us to X. Well, actually, all three of them takes us to X. This is from AF Post. It says AIPAC is pumping millions into Cori Bush's district primary to replace her with equally far left but ardently pro-Israel Democrat challenger Wesley Bell. AIPAC successfully unseated Representative Jamal Bowman earlier this summer, spending over $14 million in his primary race. The lobby group also enjoyed a similar strategy in Republican Representative Thomas Massey's primary, spending at least $400K on ads attacking him for opposing foreign aid. So here we have Cori Bush. This is Jamal Bowman, I believe. And I guess that's Thomas Massey. This also came with another link. As I said, it came with 3. Let's go to it. So this post is from Blakely LLC. It says, how the F is anyone okay with this trash? So this is a screenshot of the AIPAC saying the many have spoken. Congratulations to pro-Israel progressive leader at Belfort on your big win against anti-Israel squad member Rep. Cori Bush. AIPAC and our 4.5 million grassroots members are proud to stand with Wesley Bell. Being pro-Israel is good policy and good politics. So we see the breakdown of how things went. 51% voted for Wesley Bell. Cori Bush only got 46% of the vote. Others got 3% and less than 1%. Last attachment for this one. This is from Armani. It says, and folks were terrified of quote unquote Russian interference in 2016. It shows Cori Bush becomes second squad member, ousted in the primary. I really can't stand the picture they use of her, by the way. I notice it's common to kind of, whenever you use a picture of black folks, to use like the worst representation of them. This is from AIPAC again, talking about pro-Israel is good policy and good politics. So clearly in American politics, there's outside influences. And I saw several people, I think Taurine Walker posted about it, as well as a few others. But the idea that foreign entities can influence even the U.S. Elections is very interesting to me. Very, very interesting to me. Let me see how interesting it is to the rest of my panelists. Let me start with Jose on this one. Jose, what say you to this?
I'm sorry. This went over my head. It happened 2 times, right? With 2 black people, and this AIPAC financed their opponent like with a mountain of money, right? That's what happened, right?
Pretty much, yes. Pretty much.
Yeah, it's how it's how what angle shall I use? There, it's like they quote unquote cannot lie anymore. Everything is visible, and why are we still why do we still see the West as the safest place with all the corruption right in front of our nose? The most corrupted people tell us that we are corrupted. The Caribbean and Africa it's all corruption, etc. But everyday corruption at this scale passes by, and it's like we're numb. It's like I mean, okay, so what's this? What's the English version from the fire into the from the flame into the fire, or I forgot what the proverb was, but we
frying
have
pan to the fire. From the frying pan to the fire.
From the
Out of
frying
the frying
pan
pan
into the
into
fire.
the fire. Yeah.
So if you have to choose between the less evil, right? So even with voting inside of the United States, we have to choose the less evil. Okay, let's make it global. Like, okay, what's the less evil? Continue living in the West, or go back to the Caribbean and Africa. So yeah, I'm that's what bothers me. Our reaction is what bothers me. So if you don't want to lose, stop playing the game. So I see us losing, be it Katrina or be it voting or whatever, and the whole world is speaking of the United States because every camera is pointed at the United States. But so I give the American examples, but it's always the same. We always have the shortest straw, and so when are we When are we going to vote between the less of two evil, the corruption back home, or this infinite corruption in the West? And yeah, I pass the mic.
I appreciate that, Jose. I thought Jose was going to go a different way with that, so I'll go at it this way. One of the things I thought about when I saw this, as much as we might thumb our nose at it and condemn it, I thought about why can't we do this on the continent as well? See, the ideas, the Israelis don't just say we all got to go back to Israel to affect change, blah blah blah, which is smart, by the way. I'm not knocking it, but they also work their interests in other ways too. And this is an example of when you look at AIPAC's policies. One of their main policies is to strengthen and expand the U.S.-Israel relationship in ways that enhance the security of the United States and Israel. And I'm looking at that and I'm saying, why aren't we doing that on the continent? Why are we from the diaspora aren't doing more of that, I should say, and strengthening that type of support to better both the continent and the nations that we may hail from outside of the continent. And I think that's something we should kind of take an example here and start working towards. That's just my early thoughts on that. Let me go to Buana next. Buana, is this a good example of democracy?
Well, it depends on what you understand as democracy. Democracy really means different things to different countries. In America, the regular rank and file people believe that democracy is going to the polls and voting for their political leadership. But in reality, democracy is which lobby groups could pay a politician to get whatever they need, whatever interest they need met. That's what democracy is in America. So whether you are a lobby group lobbying for oil or gun rights or technology or steel or pharmaceutical companies, whatever lobby group wants their own slice of that democracy, they have to be able to pay to the highest bidder for that. That's what democracy is, deciding what slice of the democratic system that you're going to get, what favors that you're going to get from your politicians, what laws that you're going to have implemented in terms of if I have a pharmaceutical company, well, I want my products to be sold for this particular price in this state, and I want these kind of tax concessions. That's what democracy means, because at the end of the day, America is a business. I mean, it's a business. So some people look at it as a business. Some people look at it differently. But that's how you weigh and measure. And I haven't really looked into Cory Bush politics. I really kind of really was blending off American politics for a while. I really ain't that interested anymore. I bought a book by Kamala Harris. The book is called We Hold These Truths. I couldn't even read 2 pages of that because I thought it was utter nonsense. So I invested as I was before in American politics. So I don't want to speak on these particular politicians. But what I do know is this: if you go against certain lobby groups, in particular, strong lobby groups like the AIPAC, these are the Jews and stuff like that, you are doing that to your peril if you are an American politician. I might as well tell you, because they are one of the stronger lobby groups in the United States, and they represent such a small population of people in America, but their strength is so. But I guess they backed by Israel, and I guess they backed by what's going on in the Middle East and oil rights and all kind of other things, But and Hollywood and the different interests within inside of America itself. But if you go against that Israeli lobby group, man, you are doing that to your peril. They have big influence into American politics, and I don't understand how they have gotten so deeply embedded into American politics, where they have as much of a say so than the regular American person on the street. Matter of fact, more than a say so, But they are the best example of how you could still be small and still be yet powerful. to Jose's statements, what I would say is this: for people who want looking at the world in terms of power and in terms of providing your services, where you could see something for it, in terms of looking at the world through a black view, I would look at the Sahelian states, places like Burkina Faso. These people are trying to rebuild an economy and create a world-class economy. So if you're willing to take a chance and take a risk, see if you could get connected, man. See if you could get connected. See what you could offer. See if you could get in the group where you could offer something to those countries. Whether it's technical know-how and knowledge or whatever you learn in the West, man, because they seem to be very serious about the direction they're trying to go into the world in influencing the world in certain kind of African matters and in terms of power. So I would say that for a lot of the Pan-Africans on this side of the world, looking through the world and say, where do we land? I would say that would be your best bet. That's what I would say, but I'll leave it there, Coco.
I appreciate that, Buana. Let's welcome in our boy Anthony McPhail. Anthony, how are you this week?
Hey, how you doing, Coco? What's going on, man?
Good. Thanks for coming through as always.
Yeah, man. Peace to everybody on the panel too, man, and in the chat. I kind of, you know what? I mean, could you update me a little bit? Because when I came on when Jose was talking, and I kind of missed the first part of it.
Oh yeah, so it's just I'll recap it. It's about AIPAC, which is the pro-Israel group in America. They pumped millions into Cori Bush's district primary to replace her, and they did it. They were able to get up out of there, and they were able to get their guy. What's his name? His name is Wesley Bell. They were able to get Wesley Bell. So here's a tweet from them. The many have spoken. Congratulations to Wesley Bell on your big win against anti-Israel squad member Representative Cori Bush. AIPAC and our 4.5 million grassroots members are proud to stand with Wesley Bell. Being pro-Israel is good policy, and good policy and good politics. It's almost a taunt if you really read that. And once again, it says AIPAC and our 4.5 million grassroots members were proud to help progressive pro-Israel leader Wesley Bell defeat anti-Israel squad member Representative Cori Bush. And once again, they repeat, being pro-Israel is good policy and good politics. So we were talking about this from the standpoint of, this is America, and yet you have, at least I brought that up. This is America, and you have these outside forces meddling in American politics, American elections. How is that so comfortably done? And then I added afterwards that, perhaps this is something we should try to do ourselves as diasporans on the continent of Africa, to have these type of proactive groups and whatnot. But so that's the update on what it's all about. And the prompt says, is this a good example of democracy? So what say you, Anthony?
Okay, I got it now. I'm gonna have to go with what Buana said. When you going against that particular group, no. Okay, let me say that. Do that again. Okay, as far as American politics concerned, if you as a black person who sees things through a Pan-Africanist lens, you going up against an almost unbeatable monster. You know what I'm saying? When you're going up against the American corporate interest, because see, that's what it's about. All of these corporate interest groups that you see, that we saying outside groups, these from wherever they're from Israel, from South Africa, from Europe, and all these financial institutions. You know what I'm saying? These were the same people who helped create America. A lot of people don't know that, don't realize that. America is big business. That's all it is. It's big business. I mean, that's what it started off as, what I'm saying? Building the country, what I'm trying to say, off of, the trafficking of Africans to America, off of all of the bullshit that they done did in the Western Hemisphere when you go to to carry a big stick of ideology. You know what I'm saying? You know, being the big dog in North America, Central America, South America. You know, corporate money, controlling everybody's resources. You know what I'm saying? Controlling all the mineral wealth in the Americas, and as much as they can all over the world. You know, it's a corporate thing. It's money. That's what it is. Money. So I mean, it ain't no such thing as democracy. You know what I'm saying? They could call it what well, it's democracy as far as like, you free to go in and run over and take people's shit. You know what I'm saying? But no, it ain't no. It's not no. I mean, it's not democracy, man. It's straight up money, man. It's straight up corporate interests. You know what I'm saying? I mean, all of these little old politics, these little issues that they try to bring up, man, that don't mean shit, man. It's about money for them. You know, and it just so happened that the white folks in control of all of the money. But no, man, it ain't no democracy, man. I mean, I was listening to some of the stuff Jose was saying, man. I agree with that part, man. About them, about all of the corruption and all of the bullshit. But I mean, I think boy, they hit it on the head. He was. I agree with him 100%. That's what it is. I'll leave it.
I appreciate that, Anthony. Last but not least, only you've heard everything everyone else had to say. You've seen the chat, particularly Trigger Happy 262 Plus, who says we don't have state power, nor do we have a codified identity. So that's why we can't do what it does, or what Israel does. Interesting. What say you to all of it?
Yeah, I completely agree. I'll say this, man. Unfortunately, this is a good example of democracy, and this is and by a good example, I mean this is exactly what you should expect from a democratic system. As Juana put it, people, it means you're for sale, and this is why other countries are not trying to be democratic, because when you're democratic, you're for sale, and people have to realize that this is a foreign, in terms of America, right? This is a foreign government that is looking at your representative, right? Your congressional representative, the person who is supposed to advocate federal laws on your behalf. A foreign government is openly bragging about removing your representative from the highest lawmaking body in the country, right? Just openly bragging about it, openly investing in, and it happens to be a black woman. So who knows how difficult it is for a black person to become an elected official, right? Notwithstanding that, another nation that this black person has nothing to do with pushes them out, and we go along with it. She still lost the vote, and they found some black guy to do it for him. And I'm not saying black woman, black guy. It's not the point, right? The point more so is that they can just find somebody to replace you. Foreign governments, right? Not even your local government. Your foreign government can easily find somebody to replace you if you're advocating policy on behalf of your own people. If you're simply saying, hey, you know what? Of course, I'm not saying that, I don't know Cody Bush's policies either, right? So I can't say whether or not she was advocating for the people in her district. I don't know, right? But what I can say is that, if you're a black person, independent minded or what have you, and you start advocating for your own people, and you're not advocating for another people that you have absolutely nothing connected to, nothing to do with, you can get out of office. And it's so easy that a foreign government can do it. So what do you think your government can do? So I echo the sentiments that, you have no business being there, honestly. But also, I also think that, when Koku was saying, we should be doing something similar, it reminds me of, I think Garfield might have said it, but whatever man can do, whatever man has done, man can do. right? Why are we like this kind of tells you, one, that we could have for African advocation group, right? In the Western world, but we could also have it in the African world, right? I don't know if people saw recently there was this debacle going on in South Africa where they pretty much disqualified this Nigerian woman from running for Miss South Africa, and then they made a white woman win. They crowned a white woman Miss South Africa. So it's like a straight up French woman. So the of course that's whatever. But the point is that you're supposed to know. We're supposed to know that, one, we could do this, right? Take notes. But the other thing is you got to realize that this is also the weakness in democracy. So democracy has a weakness. That's what you got to realize. And you got to say to yourself, well, that means that I should engage, quote unquote, democratic countries from a monetary financial standpoint, right? Because say what you will, Cory Bush lost by a little bit of votes, really, and they probably invested, I think, $2 million in her race to get her out. So she lost by a little bit of votes, but she lost. Right? And in losing, right, that tells you that we could be we could be manipulated. She's the incumbent right there. You see 57,000 to 51,000. She's the incumbent, and somehow they got 57,000 people out for this other that guy. That tells you that we could be manipulated, right? That tells you that they're they're playing with us. Right. And it also tells you that, for what it's worth, you say, hey, you know what, voting's not that smart. Well, I mean, voting's not that smart. You can't really get nothing done, blah, 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 blah. You might say that, but then why the hell are they putting so much money into it? That's all I'm saying.
Well said there. Why the hell are they putting so much money into it if it doesn't matter, right? Zuliism in the chat. Well, Real Black Gentleman said, I second what Oni said. I agree with Oni as well. Zuliism is out there. He says, who cares? She was corrupt too. And, I didn't do my due diligence and look. I know we discussed her before in terms of corruption, but I don't remember the conversation that we had about her. But does anyone on the panel, is anyone familiar with what corruption she carried out in her time? Okay, I guess no one knows. So yeah, I didn't do my due diligence and look it up. If Azuli wanted to come up, you'll have to come up now though, before I move on to the next topic, to break down what was the corruption that she was involved in. Is there any other last thoughts on this prompt before I move on? All right, quiet crowd tonight.
I'll say this. I'll say this. I think that people need to separate. She is a black lady, make no mistake about that. But I think that a lot of politicians are led not necessarily based off of race. They're led by their interests. Matter of fact, that's most people, to be honest with you. And I think that yes, race is important in different kinds of elections, but I don't know what this lady's politics is. I really don't know. I think that the black community has reached a place where we should be kind of like self-governing. You know what I mean? I think that we used to think that the politicians would take us to the promised land, but I think that living in 2024 and right now, I think that we realize the politician is not going to take us to the promised land. That's just not going to happen. You got to do it yourself, man. You got to take yourself there. But I'll leave it.
So real quickly,
Yes, I wanted to add and come back on that on that part of not playing the game. If I may. So if you don't want to lose, don't play the game. And I was speaking about politics, or their politics, their economy, their society, right? So this example. So what Oni mentioned, if it wasn't if the voting was then why do they put so much money in it? But that's the same as that's the same as advertisements on TV. Okay, if the TV doesn't influence you, why do they put so much money into advertisements? So yeah, switch off the TV, right? And that's and then what do you do? That's what um Buanaziki just mentioned. Become a nation, become self-sufficient, self-providing, self-defending, etc., nation inside of a nation. I see I see I see people do it here. Turks, Chinese. I mean, okay, lately Turks are very active in politics, but Chinese is practically zero. But they get their demands fulfilled. You know what I'm saying? No politics, so they don't play the game, but they get what they want, and that's it. Thanks.
Appreciate that, Jose. So I did a quick look up, just quick, and I found this article: Missouri Rep. Cori Bush under federal investigation after hiring husband as security, as Cori Bush again. Notice she's depicted in a better light here. The St. Louis County Democrat said she received a federal subpoena Monday about her campaign spending related to her security. Bush's campaign has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on security services over the years, including to her husband, Courtney Merritt's. So it seems like that's at least a part of the corruption, I guess, that Uzuli might be talking about, but Uzuli didn't come up to clarify it more. But I'll be honest with you, that's really not big of a deal to me. Most of these politicians are sending contracts and stuff to their family members and stuff like that. That's like par for the course to me. And I'm not going to be upset that this black woman did it too. You know?
Yeah, I want to add too that, one of the things that about it is that, say what you will, her, Missouri, whatever district voted for her, and I mean, this right here, this, she hired a husband for security. I mean, her husband's supposed to be security. I mean, if you're getting paid for it, that's, what I mean? that's just better for what it is. But yeah, I mean, but my thing is that, realistically speaking, she was elected for it, and then she was kicked out just for not going along with, well, actually, for what it's worth, for like basically, let's say her district doesn't like the fact that there's a genocide going on, and so she was kicked out for not going along with a genocide. You know what I mean? That's like, that right there is like, come on, I wouldn't. I mean, again, I don't know what the old, I don't know if there's worse corruption, but again, it's like, you can't, it's like this, her being kicked out wasn't really related to that, and I feel like, if nothing else, like, if somebody does something illegal, somebody does something criminal, let the state deal with that, not for an entity because of some particular political policy. That's what it is.
Yeah, well said. I agree with that 100%. Good discussion there. Good discussion there on that topic. Let's go to Shooter Breeze topic number 2. Shooter Breeze topic number 2 is a little long, so I gotta see where I'll cut it off. But Shooter Breeze topic number 2 says, meanwhile, Zimmerman is an alive and kicking untouched celebrity. Only one white dude tried to get Zimmerman. Now look at these heroes. Can't save them if they want to be tethered. Hoping Massa find them sweet and gives them reparations. They will never ever step on Massa's toes, not even by accident. Lengthy, but you guys get the idea of what it's about. This takes us to Twitter once again, and a tweet from an account. I'm wondering about this account too. It's called Fair Buck. And I'm wondering if it's an anti-black account, because a lot of stuff seems to be anti-black that's posted. But it says, New Yorkers almost get street justice after a man in a wheelchair was arrested for killing 31-year-old NYC homeless activist Yasmin Williams. Her body was found wrapped in a sleeping bag on a sidewalk. So this is a minute and a half, a little over a minute and a half. We'll watch it. If I need to, I'll play it twice.
Yeah, we can't hear it.
You can hear it? Hold on. I got some notification just now saying that my audio has been disconnected. I don't know what the hell is going on here. So let's try it again. Let me share screen. Okay, you guys let me know if you can hear it this time. Let me mute my.
Yeah, we hear
Yeah,
Anger boiled over in Kips Bay when police took a man into custody around the corner from where the body of 31-year-old Yasmin Williams was found stuffed into garbage bags. Down the block, police sought out a man sources tell Fox 5 is a person of interest in the murder. In a wheelchair when he was brought down to the lobby, he was being transferred into a gurney while still in the lobby as a crowd outside started screaming and banging on the windows. Once the door opened, family members and friends of Yasmin Williams unleashed their fury as police officers and EMTs desperately tried to fend them off. Several people punched the man in the head, angrily jumping over him and leaping over anyone in the way to get at him. Some could be heard begging the crowd to kill the man, while others were tearing his shirt from behind. The man pleaded his innocence at the angry crowd as the EMTs and police tried to load him into the ambulance, all the while trying to push back at people surging to attack the man. As soon as the ambulance bolted, Yasmin's mother held her hand, overwhelmed.
He's disgusting. He looks like scum.
Yasmin's body was found Friday, stuffed into garbage bags and left out on the street on East 27th Street, just off 3rd Avenue. On Monday, the medical examiner's office determined the cause of death to be a gunshot wound to her head. Sources tell Fox 5 police have a surveillance video showing a man in an electric wheelchair dragging the garbage bags to that location, which led Yasmin's family to wait outside the building down the street.
I'll play it one more time just to clarify it.
Anger boiled over in Kips Bay when police took a man into custody around the corner from where the body of 31-year-old Yasmin Williams was found stuffed into garbage bags. Down the block, police sought out a man sources tell Fox 5 is a person of interest in the murder. In a wheelchair when he was brought down to the lobby, he was being transferred into a gurney while still in the lobby as a crowd outside started screaming and banging on the windows. Once the door opened, family members and friends of Yasmin Williams unleashed their fury as police officers and EMTs desperately tried to fend them off. Several people punched the man in the head, angrily jumping over him and leaping over anyone in the way to get at him. Some could be heard begging the crowd to kill the man, while others were tearing his shirt from behind. The man pleaded his innocence at the angry crowd as the EMTs and police tried to load him into the ambulance, all the while trying to push back at people surging to attack the man. As soon as the ambulance bolted, Yasmin's mother held her hand, overwhelmed.
He's disgusting. He looks like scum.
Yasmin's body was found Friday, stuffed into garbage bags and left out on the street on East 27th Street, just off 3rd Avenue. On Monday, the medical examiner's office determined the cause of death to be a gunshot wound to her head. Sources tell Fox 5 police have a surveillance video showing a man in an electric wheelchair dragging the garbage bags to that location, which led Yasmin's family to wait outside the building down the street.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real. The police put this guy out there to get doing like that, and they didn't do that to Zimmerman. Zimmerman was more or less protected throughout that process. I suspect Zimmerman is still protected too. But yeah, they definitely didn't. They definitely put this black guy out there to catch hell for what it seems he did, allegedly. With that said, let me hear from Anthony McPhail. Anthony, what are your thoughts here?
Man, I say the same thing you said. You know what I'm saying? I say the same thing, Koku. You know, I mean, the police knew what was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? To bring him out there, you know, and knew how the people, how the emotions of the people was. But I want to see the same energy when when the police do that to us, when kill one of us. You know what I'm saying? I want to see the same energy. It's ironic that it was just, I think yesterday was like the 10th anniversary of Mike Brown's death. You know, Mike Brown's murder, like yesterday. But I'm saying I want to see the same damn energy. You know what I'm saying? Okay, y'all gonna go over there and beat the brother, half to death without even knowing if he 100% did it. Now I said we don't know if he did it or not. Like you said, it's a legend. Now if he did do it, hell, his ass deserved a death penalty. You know what I'm saying? But we need to have a little bit of patience with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, you know what I'm saying, Coco? Y'all just jumped on him and beat him half to death. But Zimmerman walking his ass around there, and nobody, and still breathing. You know what I'm saying? Yep. All them bad Negroes down there in Florida, man, somebody should have been busted cap in his ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Somebody
should have been busted cap in his ass. And like I'm saying, and then and when the police shot that sister to death, not too long ago, Sonia Massey. All these sisters who done got killed. Breonna Taylor, Tatiana Jefferson. And all the brothers who done got smoked. You know what I'm saying? We done marched and protested and cried and did all of that, and it had all kind of movements and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? We gotta stop the bullshit, man. We gotta stop the bullshit. Yeah, I mean, my heart go out to that sister and her family. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if he did that, he deserved everything he's gonna get. You know what I'm saying? He deserved everything he's gonna get. But I'm just saying, it make us look bad. We're gonna go out there, you're gonna beat him half to death. George Zimmerman and all these other honkies who done did shit. Ain't nobody did nothing to them. They walking around and everything. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it really make us look bad, man. Yeah, I'll leave it at that, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the eagerness to jump on a guy in a wheelchair who you're not. I mean, we're saying allegedly, although the way they put the story out there, a guy was seen in an electric wheelchair, wheeling out a plastic bag. It makes it sound like it must be this guy who's also in a wheelchair as well. But our hastiness to jump on this guy, and we got these guys out here who violate black folks, get put back on the street, and we never lift a finger, man. It's a sad thing. But let's hear from the other panelists. Let me hear from Buana next. Buana, what's it?
Well, Koku, I try, when I see these kinds of things, I try to put myself in the same position to try to see if I understand. I saw the video and the footage of one guy, they didn't show his face, in a wheelchair, actually taking a body out and dumping the body like it was garbage. I saw that video. And I'm saying to myself, I am putting myself in the same situation, because it's a very emotive. What if it was your loved one, a family member? You would be tempted to do something too. I'm surprised he make it out of there. As many guns on the streets of New York City, I'm surprised he didn't get a headshot. I'm surprised he was able to make it out of there. But seeing that he did, like you say, I jungle justice is one thing. I like to go off evidence, and these people are following. Maybe they saw the footage of the wheelchair person as well, and they just automatically assume it was that guy. I don't know, and I really don't care for jungle justice, because sometimes the innocent is suffer for the guilty. But I try to put myself in the same situation, and maybe I would have done the same thing or worse. But as far as George Zimmerman, right, and that issue, I understand that people like to look at that scenario and so, how come the black community and deal with that? Me personally, I take a different kind of approach. I say, if anyone's supposed to be hunting down George Zimmerman until the day he died, I would like to give his daddy a chance first to do that. because he is the most interested party in seeding out justice. And he'd feel better doing a lifetime in jail, knowing that he put the killer of his son 6 feet deep. You know what I mean? He would be the freest man in jail, knowing he'd do something like that. You know, I think that to put the onus on the completely on the black community, yes, of course, we should have our own policing. We should have our own scrutiny. We are very lethal towards one another, but we ain't lethal to the people we need to be lethal towards. That's granted, and I respect that argument. But I say the dad should be hunting them daily. You know what I mean? You know what? He should have a GoFundMe in hunting down a George Zimmerman. Put that shit. I don't know if they'd allow you, anyone who wanted to support in actually trying to find where this guy is and hunting them down, put that up there. And you know what I mean? Put it to $100,000. You know, put him dead or alive. You know, put it there. You know, if you could do it like that. But I just think that he should be the first port of call in searching for George Zimmerman and getting justice for his son. I really feel that way. But the black community is also responsible for doing it. But I just think that it's his job first and foremost. You know, but I don't know. That's how I look at that. But I'll leave it.
Yeah, I think that's sound. It is his job, Trayvon's father's job to do that. But also on general principle too, we have enough. What's the right word to use there? We have enough hooligans. We have enough people who have that spirit, and you guys know what I mean by that spirit. We just saw some in this video we just watched. That you guys see George Zimmerman about, you're supposed to take him down. There's a saying here in the States, do it for the culture. That's one of those do it for the culture moments. You know what I mean? That's one of those do it for the culture moments. The dad's supposed to do it for sure. But if he slunking, one of y'all fellas supposed to see Zimmerman somewhere and finish that. The same energy that y'all have for this guy in a wheelchair, no matter, right? Y'all supposed to have that same energy for Zimmerman. With that said, let's hear from Oni. Oni, what's say?
Yeah, so I saw the video of the guy in the wheelchair dragging the body and trashing it, but it wasn't just that. Like, because a lot of people because the framing of the news, is innocent until proven guilty. Right. So it's alleged, killer, what have you. But it seems like this is the killer. Apparently she knew this guy. And she would be in his house all the time or something like that. She would probably, I guess maybe he's like a homeless guy, I don't know. But she's like helping him, with housing and shit. She was a nice person, that type of stuff, doing charity, and he was probably one of her things, or people also speculate he was like a lover. I don't know, but she was at his house sometimes. And then this same guy was like earlier, I think earlier this day, was threatening somebody like, yo, I'll shoot you. Like, like he was threatening to shoot somebody who like confronted him about something, possibly about the girl, possibly about maybe noises they heard. I don't remember the story because it's been a minute, but basically it's like, it seems like he was the killer. And then, as far as the relation to the Zimmerman story and whatever, like, we don't know who these guys are, but they could be relatives, they could be friends, they could be, people in the local community who knew the girl who was killed, because apparently, like I said, she was a charitable lady. So I mean, yeah, he's pleading, oh yeah, I'm innocent, and he's whatever, but like, yeah, somebody else said, he threatened them earlier with a gun, and he also like come on, like we all saw the video of him dragging the girl's body, dumping the girl's body. So it's like the framing makes it seem like, oh, well, what if it was some other homeless guy in a wheelchair, right? But it just seems like it's a 99% chance that it's this guy. And again, I feel like the family, you know, because like what Bwana was saying about Zimmerman's dad should be the one, you know, like realistically, yeah, like let's say something like my sister's a good lady, right? Yeah, I know I have a sister, whatever, right? So my sister's a good lady, and then somebody just kills her. Like, yeah, of course I show up to the courthouse, and of course I'm the one throwing punches, you know. And I mean, I know we want to say, well, I want other people to throw punches for me, and it's like that's fine if they do, but like, what? Like, I'm supposed to be the one there throwing punches, you know, if nobody else, you know. So I don't know the story with, you know, Zimmerman or Zimmerman's. I mean, sorry, I don't know the story about Trayvon with Trayvon's father, or what have you. But like, um, you know, and I definitely don't think that, you know, Zimmerman should be walking around black folk, um, you know, like ain't nothing happened. But I don't think he's walking around black folk like ain't nothing happened. You know, I think he's in, you know, quote unquote witness protection, and I think the white people around him, you know, are either also in protection, you know, or they're also, you know, they're just hush hush, or they're even protecting Zimmerman. So I think that's what's really going on. It's not like there was maybe one footage of Zimmerman that I've seen since the shooting. Um, and it was, you know, him like signing a bag of Skittles, like the audacity, right? But it was clearly like in a white, you know, like a white supremacist environment. You know what I mean? It's not like he was like, you know, it's not like he's like in Waffle House or some shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, Waffle House and, you know, whatever. So I think that's part of the reason why Zimmerman, you know, is surviving, as it were. But also, like I said, this guy, it seems like he just killed. Like it seems like I don't want to say it seems, maybe like 99% chance that this guy was the killer of this, you know, like a community organizer, who was like probably helping him. But also, I want to just put this as a reminder for women. Um, don't go to these don't go to bum's house. Like, stop being hobosexual. You know, I don't know, but it seems like it. You know, some people are thinking that they were like romantic. You know, but like, stop being homosexual. Like leave the bums alone, man. Like, because yeah, he's, you know, oh, he's in a wheelchair, you can't hurt me. Yeah, he can. He has guns exist. You know what I mean? Not just that he's a man, but like, yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, I'm actually not against uh people, you know, punching the guy. And I also think that, as Koku said, I think that the police, did this on purpose, or at least they didn't expect people to react this way. But when it comes to like white suspects, or like that time when that house was being cleared out from the pedophiles or whatever, like, white people know how to like protect uh suspects, and they were not trying to protect this guy. That's pretty much that full story. That's it.
Yeah, thanks for that. For kind of backing up that story too. I hadn't seen the footage of the wheelchair person dumping what seems to be a body. I will say though that in a given area, if you see a wheelchair person dumping a bag near where a dead body is found, chances are it's probably that person. How many wheelchair persons are out here dumping stuff like that? But with that said, clearly the police put him out there to get whooped. And again, yeah, it's on Trayvon's pops to deal with that situation. I gotta mute Anthony's mic. It's for Trayvon to deal with that. His dad to deal with that situation. Absolutely, 100%. But I am saying that, and I guess Trigger Happy kind of is touching on it here when he says not having a community means there's no sense of systematic justice to those who perpetrate violence against you. No judicial system of any kind. I think that's the issue I'm having. black folks every day, black men especially, let me not say black folks generally, black men especially, are sitting around day in and day out talking about their ops this, their ops that. They're running down on their ops, all this type of stuff. And a guy does something egregious to the community. A white guy does something egregious to the community, right? And you do nothing about it. It's shame on Trayvon's pops, but shame on some of these guys who are out here in the nonsense already. I'm not talking about, regular smuggler dudes supposed to take up arms and this, that, and that. I'm talking about the dudes who are on the bullshit already, right? Go handle that shit. If this boy's father ain't doing it, you go do. You see Zimmerman, as Oni said, at the Waffle House, at the drive-through, you're supposed to run down on him. You're talking about running down on ops all fucking day. Go run down on this guy, right? KW7 in the chat earlier said you have black males who justify the Trayvon Martin murder. Your Tommy Sotomayor types. Yeah, I can see that. Real Black Gentleman says, didn't a black dude on a bike punch Zimmerman? I think that was a white guy on a bike that punched Zimmerman. But with all that said, Joe said you heard everything everyone else had to say. What say you to this?
Well, yeah, I have a theme, and I'm afraid that's what we're seeing here. And the theme is that we don't live in a white supremacist system, but the complete reverse. So we live in a black subjugation system. So everybody is welcome to the mob, even black folks. And yeah, we see it the more every day on, for example, X, Twitter. But yeah, and I want to add, because this was quite some weeks ago that this was posted, I believe. But I want to add something recent, because I agree with all of you, that this was like last week. I don't know if somebody saw that, but last week there was a beauty shop was closed, and all the stuff was in a parking lot. It was like maybe millions worth of beauty stuff, like everything, nails, hair, everything, and it was one big shit show, because the police wouldn't let people take stuff for free, but they themselves took stuff, right? Maybe to act funny at parties or Halloween or whatever, but it was one big shit show, and this we are looking at a shit show too. So and the people finally had an N-word to kick down to spit upon, and the police had their photo up, like, look at these N-words, I mean, so that's all of that is possible, because everyone, even us, need somebody to look down upon. And of course it's always going to be us, because everybody has agreed upon that. If it would be about white supremacy, everybody would be competing for that number one spot, right on the top. But nobody is doing that. Everybody is rather looks to somebody to kick down upon, or like in this video to kick down upon. Yeah, that's actually yeah, the message. I wanted to shed some light on our behavior, and especially again repeat that it's not about white supremacy, but it's about black subjugation. Everybody is let me add another one, like and this one is a male female family thing, right? So what I see here, and what I suspect happens everywhere in the West, what I see here is that all types of women that, oh, I want a beautiful baby, they come at our community. Since the black man is already guilty, you can steal a child. You can come into our community, you know, act black a couple of weeks, and then run with a beautiful mixed black baby. Like we have this position, everybody agreed upon, that nobody cares about us. There's no defense. Nobody is coming out to defend us, or even to represent us. Even in the music culture that we make, nobody is defending that. Nobody. Everybody is busy with do I have somebody to look down to, or am I the bottom? Everybody is afraid to be the bottom rather than uh, seeking to be the number one, if you understand what I mean. So that's actually the cloud in which I suggested this subject. Something to think about. I want us to think about what's really happening here. Everybody everybody agrees on what's happening here. The police has a photo up of these N-words. Look at these N-words, and actually you're looking also at our people happy to have an N-word to kick down upon. And yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Yeah, the more and thanks for that, Jose. The more you say photo op, I'm looking at this video and I'm like, this is photo op within photo op within photo op. It's the wailing mother. It's the police pretending to protect this guy. You know what I mean? Pretending to show restraint against the mob. You know, look at these guys here, pretending to show restraint and all this kind of stuff.
The beauty shop, the closing beauty shop, and I believe the owner had passed. The closing beauty shop was the same thing. It was a shit show, like black folks demanding, asking, begging to have access to all that free stuff that was laying there in the parking lot. So it was also with the yellow ribbon. Exactly. So the police had a yellow ribbon around the stuff, and it was the same. It was a photo op. Like, look at them. Look at these wild. You know.
Yeah, I got you. Any last thoughts on this prompt by any of the panelists?
I have some brief comments. I think that sometimes when people believe and see people murder usually where they live, usually, very few people go outside of their community looking for people to actually, do harm to. Very few people, usually, when crimes are being committed, we're very lazy, so when people think, I understand that the community should actively go hunting after this man, but he ain't hanging out in Brooklyn. George Zimmerman ain't in Brooklyn. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. He ain't off a higher layer in Florida. He in certain parts of Atlanta. So because of that, I don't expect harm to come to him. I think that if he was to walk in a Waffle House at 3 o'clock in the morning where a bunch of brothers is in Atlanta sitting down, some brothers them will say, "Hey, ain't that George Zimmerman?" Yes, that's George Zimmerman. Hey man, we gonna go outside. We gonna try to take care. I think that'll happen. I really personally believe, and I don't think that it'll be criminals doing it either. But to say that them same brothers is gonna actively get a detective and go hunting after him, I think that you would probably have to be more intimately involved in. I think that you would have to be a family member of Trayvon Martin before we actively go hunting after him. That's why I say his dad should get first dibs. But I think that if he was to go into a black restaurant at the wrong place at the wrong time, and a group of black men was to recognize him, I think that George Zimmerman will be harmed. I think George Zimmerman is practicing safe politics. He makes these crazy comments and take pictures where he is extremely safe in neighborhoods where he's safe. So I don't think that sometimes it's fair to try to suggest that the black community wouldn't do nothing to them. I just think that we lazy in actually actively going out and hunting after him. But if he was, like I say, if he is in the wrong place at the wrong time, and some brothers recognize, hey, that's George Zimmerman, and they remember who he is, because that case is a little bit older now, and they remember who he is, man, he will get dealt with. I really feel, if he was in somewhere in New Orleans, you know, I know Anthony them will deal with him. I know Anthony them will deal with him. So I just think that I don't know, man. I think we go hard on the brothers sometimes in believing that certain things wouldn't happen to him, like they trying to punk us or something. I just think that we lazy. We wouldn't actively go hunting for him. But I think that if he was to be at the wrong place in the wrong time, he would get dealt with. No, I think that that'll happen. I'm sorry, I believe that, but I'll leave it.
I'll just say that there's so-called black gangsters doing photo ops with Donald Trump, and a guy who is known to come from Klansmen, a guy who pushed for the death penalty for 5 youth in New York City. And we can't say that was a long time ago, because that film that won awards about, I forget the name of it now, that won awards was just pre-pandemic, I think, just pre-pandemic when that came out. And guys still rocking with Donald Trump. There's certain Pan-Africans who are rooting for Donald Trump. So I don't know. I think black folks, like Afro-Native World is saying on the screen, the guys who are into the foolishness, who talking about running down on ops and all that stuff, they got too much smoke for our own folk to do anything like what some of us are talking about up here. And I think that's the problem, generally speaking. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see, me personally, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see some black folks posing with Zimmerman in the near future, with a Skittles in their hand.
Cokie, you think it's that bad? You think it's that bad? I don't think it's that bad, man. I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, I think so. Does anyone else have any last thoughts on this prompt? All right, we're making good time tonight. I want to thank everyone who's participating with us on the panel tonight. Those of you who are active in the chat, really do appreciate all of you. Hopefully, more folks will come in sometime soon. Let's get a more rigorous conversation going on between the panel and the chat. In the meantime, though, let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 3 tonight. By the way, shout out to D-Web from the House Rally podcast. I saw him in the chat earlier. KW Dawn 7, Afro Native World, and others. Shoot the Breeze topic number 3 tonight says, how do we avoid this happening in Africa? Does it not entail rejecting the values of a people who disrupt nature and take up our spiritual practices, which collaborates with nature? This comes with a link that takes us to Twitter, and someone named Boar posted this one that says, without white farmers in South Africa, animals like this would have been extinct. Blessed to be a part of it. So we see the rhino and some giraffes, right? Without white farmers in South Africa, animals like this would have been extinct. Blessed to be a part of it. Let me just check out some of the other responses to this. Revolutionary Blackout Network says, these animals only decline since you've stolen land and killed millions of indigenous peoples who lived in harmony with nature for countless generations. Your white supremacy makes you pretend to be a savior when in reality, when reality is your Western countries would be extinct without Africa. And he posts this caption that says, white settlers sought to eliminate wildlife and clear out competition for land and resources. Wildlife numbers continue to be decimated through direct hunting, but also thanks to habitat destruction and the introduction of fences. Hunting was no longer about sustaining oneself or profiting off of the ivory trade. Someone here called a Jamaican named Bully Beef Bandit says, y'all the reason they're endangered in the first place. Love the blame shifting though. And she laughed. Someone says, Norma Kay says, you kill animals for fun and hang their heads on your walls as trophies. Bloodthirsty hooligans. One more. Water at room temperature says, white folks are the problem, actually. But this, one of our I guess, family members, you could say. Great house, X Spots the Mark on Twitter. We have featured a lot of his tweets on there before. He disappears sometime, but he shows up to give these white boys some work on history. I do appreciate him. He says to that tweet about without white farmers in South Africa, animals like this would have been extinct. He says animals hunted into extinction by whites. He always comes with the fact. He said the Tasmanian tiger, the North American jaguar, passenger pigeon. I didn't even know the passenger pigeon was extinct. Quagga. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Pyrenean ibex, Atlas bear, the European bison, the California grizzly bear, the Mexican grizzly bear, the Sicilian wolf, the bubal hartebeest, and the dodo bird are extinct, as he outlines here. Do the white folks. Great House goes on to say that these are just the ones they hunted and killed. I'm not even counting species that went extinct due to loss of habitat from European expansion and colonization. And this is just in modern times. You go back to prehistory, they wiped out all of Europe's megafauna, right? Animals, he says, animals hunted into extinction by blacks, 0. So I thought that was an interesting tweet. And I like what the prompt is asking us here. How do we avoid this happening in Africa? Does it not entail rejecting the values of a people who disrupt nature and take up our spiritual practices, which collaborates with nature? Very interesting prompt here. I like it a lot. Let me start with Anthony McPhail. Anthony, what say you to this?
Yeah. This it's kind of funny, man. I'm gonna laugh when I hear that, man. I mean, like they said, these white folks that eliminated so many species off the earth. Just think about right here in North America. In the 1850s, in the 1840s, 1850s, there were about 30 to 40 million bison roaming North America, from Canada to all over, what is now the United States. Now, that's a lot of buffalo. By 1880, they had killed damn near all of them. You know what I'm saying? They had killed damn near all of them. Just imagine, it's almost mind-boggling. All of those millions and millions of buffalo. And within a 20-year span, they had wiped out all but like the herd of about a few hundred. Like the buffalo that they have now, I think they say the herd is now about like 40,000. That herd of 40,000 is the descendants of about 400-500 buffaloes. You know what I'm saying? Before them, there were millions, tens of millions, 20, 30, even some, they say between 20 to 40 million buffaloes. So, it's just almost mind-boggling to believe that somebody could kill that many animals. And then go to Africa. Now, starting with like around the 1880s, when the Belgians, this is specifically happened in the Congo, in the so-called the Belgian Congo, because that's where a majority of the rhinoceros was. A lot of the elephants, the rhinoceros, they had them all over Africa at one time, but this was a place that was full of them. Now, just think of all of the ivory. Now, one of the biggest trades we hear about, like the slave trade, the external slave trade of Africans out of Africa, in the internal trade, in the continent. But besides the slave trade, one of the biggest trades, the second biggest trade after the slave, the trade in human beings was the trade of ivory, the ivory trade. And a lot of the ivory went to the east, to the Arabian land, the Muslim countries, into China. You talking about millions and millions of elephants and millions of rhinoceros. They killed rhinoceros just to cut his horn off and more like the Arabs, like particularly these in Oman, you can still see it today in Oman. These Omani Arabs who had ran the Zanzibar Sultan and controlled the east coast of Africa, the so-called Swahili region at the time. One of the biggest things that they loved was ivory, the rhinoceros ivory, because they used to cut his horn off just to make this kind of as a sheath that they stick these big long daggers in. You ever seen them, Koku?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sheath where they stick this big old fancy dagger in. You know what I'm saying? It was real popular in all like the Arab sultanates, all over the Middle East, all over the East. In India, it was popular in India and all the way in China, where they killed millions and millions of rhinoceros just to have. I mean, it was a prized possession among many of these sultans. Man, that horn, and even right now, and they still do it right now today. It ain't many rhinoceros around today, and that's why they protect it, because the market for the rhinoceros horn is from the Middle East, from these Arab sultans, like in Oman, in Qatar, and Bahrain, these places like that. I mean, ivory is still a valuable commodity, but it's just like, I mean, you could even go back to the advent of the Industrial Revolution. That's when they first started destroying the environment. No, now you talk about the animals, just the environment. When you got smokestacks everywhere, you know what I'm saying, all in the UK. It was so bad in the UK at one time, it was blacking out the sky. But then, like I think it was in the 70s, the 80s, where you had this brother in Nigeria. His name was Ken Saro-Wiwa. Y'all ever heard of him?
Yeah,
Ken
with the oil.
Saro-Wiwa.
Yeah, with the oil. Yeah, yes.
Ken Saro-Wiwa, he was a member of the Ogoni ethnic group in Nigeria, Southeast Nigeria. And he was complaining about how, like, the British corporations and in hand with the Nigerian government, because they had discovered oil in Nigeria, down in the Delta of Nigeria, in the southern Nigeria. They discovered oil, and how the discovery of oil, how the leakage, the spillage over was getting in the rivers and in the water system. And he was, he got assassinated for that. And you can go out in the Congo right now today. A lot of the people, they have organizations that are protesting now, like with them digging up the cobalt and all these minerals out of the Congo, how they polluting the water system, the river system, even the Congo River. But I mean, yeah, it's just amazing, man, how these people who have did more than anybody, their imprint. I mean, if you look at a map of the imprint of the destruction of the environment, the imprint is in Western Europe and the United States. It's in China too now, as of recently. But the biggest imprint is in Western Europe and the United States. Now, they done did all they can to destroy the environment, and now that it's on the brink of, like, it's going to be all over with, now they want to act like they want to save the environment. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, I'd knock off right there.
Yeah, the old bait and switch is a common practice with them. Izuli in the chat says, Africans won't fight for themselves. You think they'll fight for Mother Nature? I'll go to Jose next. Jose, what's it?
Yeah, sorry. This subject, I can't. This is so beyond laughing out loud. It frustrates me for as long as I know that I exist. These commercials to save the animals in Africa, you always see black pouches, right? But in reality, it's blacks that protect the animals. Yes, everybody is guilty. In Asia, the ivory is furniture, and in the West, it's piano keys and billiard balls. But what was it again that I wanted to say? Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I was in primary school, sometimes they would show nature documentaries, and it was still on film in those days, in early 70s, mid 70s. And I remember, like, wildebeest, up until the horizon, elephants, like elephants and pygmies. I remember documentaries that elephants and pygmies would used to live together, right? And you would see elephants, like, also millions, like hundreds of thousands of elephants, and so in the last, I guess, in the last centuries, quite recent. Let me put it that way. Quite recent is when they really started killing. I mean, in that list of animals, if you do almost extinct, we have had quite some animals almost extinct, right? Like in the sea, for example, whale hunting. I mean, there's too much. These creatures, man. These creatures. It's like, it's yeah, I don't know, man. I want to say something, but I again, I will probably be misinterpreted. But there's a war going on higher levels, right? On the spiritual spheres, like, maybe you remember, right? We know each other in the meantime, but I have a special look at those books, right? The Bible. I think I see another layer, right? So God is consciousness, and the absence of consciousness is the other party, right? And these creatures are completely the absence of consciousness. And even when they post shit like this, it's exactly who they are. Like, who does not know that the white man is responsible for all mess on the planet, be it the environment, or be it conflicts. There's so much to say about this post, and it's all disgusting. So I pass the mic.
I appreciate that, Jose. Um, with that said, let me mix it up a little bit. Oni, what say you to all of it?
Yeah, so obviously white folk, just bullshitting. They just bullshitting. White folk bring destruction on the planet. Um, they killed. They exterminated. Besides some of these species, right? They exterminated. Uh, I want to say two races, and some people estimate, at least Carlos Cooks estimated, that actually 2/3 of African people were killed um, during the Ma'afa. Now, I don't know to what extent that's true, but it's possible that a lot of coastal Africa was decimated. Um, but I'm saying this to say that they came to the Americas, and apparently North America at one point had the densest population of human beings on the planet. So where we are in North America used to be Native Americans, and they had some of the densest cities, if you will, and they are no more as a people. The indigenous Australian, is no more as a people. Um, and then, like I said, I don't know what percent of African people were killed off, but a lot were gone. So, we might say, hey, Africa has a lot of languages now. And yeah, Africa does, maybe like 5,000, whatever. There were probably many, many, many more. There's probably so much that was lost in this European, just this clusterfuck example, you know. Uh, that said, oh yeah, and as far as what's happening with nature, or with the natural animals, if you will, right? Yeah, Whitey has an effect on that too. Um, uh, he hunts these animals for like with no regard for natural balance, and of course he decimates environments with no uh you know he decimates environments with synthesis, you know which is like, or syntheticism, with like synthetic houses, synthetic homes. One thing you're going to notice inside of Africa is a lot of, I mean, like you might see like a trek of cities, and it's a little bit off of the nature. It's not like trees and they're not living in trees per se, right? So they have their dirt road, but they also have like kind of like mud houses sometimes, or brick houses. Never really, skyscrapers and stuff like that. That said, it's a lot more balanced, and again, everything consumes something, except for plants, which they do their photosynthesis, but everything consumes something, right? The bugs eat the plants, the herbivores kind of eat the plants and the bugs, and the carnivores, they eat the herbivores, and so on and so forth. But they do so in a very balanced manner. Now, maybe it's not intentional, maybe it's subconscious, maybe it's whatever, but or maybe it's just a matter of whatever. But like you'll see the lion, for instance, like when it's hunting gazelle, like if you ever pay attention to like a really flourishing environment, right, or a really unsabotaged environment, when the lion is hunting the gazelle, he has his peak of 200 or something. You know what I mean? Like, like it's like 5 lions and 200 gazelles. Plenty of, there's that little balance. They're not, and the thing that humans differ with, and not even humans, but like, let's say the thing that Europeans differ with is that Europeans kill for fun. They kill for fun. The lion doesn't really kill for fun. The tiger doesn't really kill for fun. I feel like we as African people don't really kill for fun either, right? The European kills for fun. And, like I said, we see this front and center in all the ways of war that they're doing. We see this, speaking of the American Indian, I tell you, there's a story of them and their Christianization, right? And how they were, they swore off violence, and and the white people saw them, surrendered, praying, and just had their way, and just killed them for the heck of it. So yeah, how we do this is, yeah, we definitely reject Wazungu and his ways and his manners, but the reality is, I feel like instinctively we're already on par for natural preservation, and we know this because, for what it's worth, Africa has a pretty preserved, had a pretty preserved environment before Wazungu showed up, and you have to contrast this to Europe, where despite the fact that they say dog is man's best friend, right? And despite the fact that the dogs that we know of are domesticated wolves, those wolves of yesteryear are gone, right? Those wolves of Europe are extinct. If I remember correctly, but I'm just looking at the list and I'm like, I don't see them. I see Sicily, but whatever. But the point is that yeah, so that's what it is. That's all I'm saying.
I appreciate that. We could double back to it, but one component of by the way, Brother Bakari said peace and black power. Kofi said black power to the panel. So shout out to you guys. Thanks for joining. But I think one of the things we so far haven't really discussed is African spirituality in all of this and the role it plays. I mean, only spoke about it. It's kind of instinctive, I guess, amongst Africans, but the role of African spirituality in its collaboration with nature. And Trigger Happy put up a few messages. So I'll read those. He said, if anything, there's more evidence that Africans actually preserved many different animals and plants. He goes on to say so many different types of animals that are symbolically significant in our cultures and are preserved and sacralized. We move away from that cultural practice and the animals die. The preservation of ecology is embedded in our cultures. Other theological perspectives will say we should just let a lot of that knowledge go because it isn't, quote unquote, logical. He says it is very systematic and balanced. Each characteristic matches what is needed for the ecology. Once you do too much, the whole system becomes imbalanced in nature. He says herbivores spread plants, carnivores eat the weakest herbivores, which keeps them from going above population. Plants, colors attract people to eat them. It all informs each other. He says also genocide connects to the destruction of ecology. Removing the Maasai from their land and all the knowledge they have of their land makes that land imbalanced. I appreciate that, Trigger Happy. With all of that said, Buana, you've heard it all. What say you to all of it?
Yeah. So, if in terms of spirituality, if the presidents of African nations, some presidents where they have these big reserves where a lot of these wild animals are, if you teach in school, or if you implement as far as the educational curriculum, the importance of animals and how animals are sacred and how animals should be, held in sacred esteem, and attach the spiritual aspect to animals and all these kinds of things in the educational system. If you teach that to the children, they would have some better understanding of why you shouldn't just go out and kill and murder and harm other animals. Because I understand the white man is doing his devilishment in Africa, but sometimes they have employees, many of which are other people who look just like me and you. So I think that's the first thing I would implement in trying to teach the importance of animals, the importance of why they should be held in sacred esteem, and they shouldn't be harmed in any way, not for gaming or nothing like that. That's the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do, in taking out of the boundary of the spirituality of animals and how they should be held, is implement laws, put laws in place where it says that if you harm any animals, like they do in the United States, if you harm a dog in the United States, willy-nilly, you are going to jail. You know what I mean? Like you get almost like a you harm a human sentence. So it's like you harm a human. So I think that these things should be implemented in African countries, where if you harm animals, protected animals, or eat any animal, if you have certain respects for animals or whatever, any animals, then you should be given a jail sentence. But I would say this: the African leaders don't have the wherewithal to do that. You know why? Because these gaming reserves bring in millions of dollars to African countries, where you have a lot of these Europeans and some of us as well go on safari where we shooting these gaming reserves, and then we pay the governments, these African governments, taxes. We pay them for certain privileges of going on these hunts and things of that nature. So now you have a twofold problem, because the African leader have to decide, I want the money or I want the preservation of the life of the animals. Now, what you think that they gonna do? What do you think they can do if they have that question in their hands? The answer is clear. The answer been clear. But I would try to outlaw it. Well, some countries have. They outlaw the hunting of certain animals. I would try to jail people who was to harm animals. And you have to back up law and order with force. Be willing to shoot what they call poachers. Be willing to gun them down. Be willing to harm harmless animals, animals who can't fight back in the same way. Are you pointing the gun at them? You go hunting for the people who hunting the animals. That's how you back up your law and your spirituality. You must do it with force, physical force. Get the guns, and let's ensure that people ain't coming into your country to hunt and kill harmless animals, to put their heads up on walls. So I say you have to back it up with force. This is the way I would try to do it if I was running and governing an African country. But like I say, many African leaders don't have the will or wherewithal to do it, because on one hand they have the preservation of harmless animals, and on the other hand they have, well, I could sell this elephant ivory for a couple million on the market, whether it's a black market or the white market. You take a choice. These people who coming from Europe, these billionaires and multi-millionaires, they're willing to pay me millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars to just hunt on my reserve. So this is the problem that I feel like we have to solve on the continent right now. But I'll leave it there, Koku.
Yeah, I wanted to add something, if I may.
Real quick, Joseph, let me just read this. Trigger Happy 262 plus in the chat is saying to Buana, sorry, hold on, I just moved. He says, I agree, Buana. The big problem is that schools in Africa are either Christian or Muslim. People get scared when you do libations in African schools. They act like it's witchcraft. That's a damn shame. But anyway, our schools have to be spiritual. I also think our cultures help with internalization that goes beyond the laws. It's internalized that we are ecological along with the laws as well. Lastly, he says Arab and European countries pay big money to get our lands in Africa to do nonsense. Jose, and then I think Anthony should share his thoughts that he shared with us in the private chat. Jose, go ahead.
Yeah, about the Netherlands. The Netherlands does not have one natural forest. They in their discovery, quote unquote, days, they cut all of it to make boats. And just to give an idea of these people, right? Just recent, they killed and that's regular, right? Once in a couple of years, they killed deer because it gets overpopulated, right? And recently, wolves started to enter the country again from Germany, right? So the population of wolves is growing again. So when it was one, everybody was exciting. Oh, the wolves are back! The wolves are back! And at a certain moment, it was a family of 5, and they started killing sheep. They shot them.
Appreciate that, Jose. Anthony, you wanted to share?
Yeah, Coco. I was gonna kind of piggyback off of what Barton was saying about how governments need to enact that kind of legislation. Now I remember that doing when President Mugabe was in power in Zimbabwe, he had some legislation enacted about that illegal poaching, and it was kind of controversial. I don't know if y'all remember, but it was like they were saying like if you get caught poaching, they might shoot your ass. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you ever remember hearing about that? They said they would shoot you. And like people were saying, well, damn, do we value human life over animal life? That was the whole question about it. But I'm saying at that time, I think it was in the 90s sometime, because a whole lot of poaching was going on. And Mugabe, he had that rule in, if you get caught, because they was going across poaching camps all in the bush and everything. And it was saying that, if you get caught in the act of poaching, you might get shot. But the other thing I wanted to hit on real quick was the spirituality part. Now, in Nigeria, in southwest Nigeria, in Yoruba land, many of the some people still follow it's about 20 million people still follow the African traditional religion, of Ifa, Isese. And it was a thing. They had a movement going on for a minute, because like one of the sacred rivers, I think it was Oshun. It was doing the Oshun festival. That it was being polluted from the oil and gas, the gas leakage. You know what I'm saying? So and I'm just tying that into how traditional African people have always, had a reverence for the environment. All over Africa, we've always had that reverence for the environment around us, because we were always in tune with nature. And I just wanted to throw that in real quick, and I'll leave it up right there.
Yo, Anthony, I just wanted to I'm gonna be brief, man. Hey, Anthony, you have an amazing recall, Yeah, I mean, the fact your memory, the fact that you could go, first of all, you're going back to the American history. Then you go on to Nigeria. Then you're talking about some spiritual. Yo, your recall is amazing, man. I gotta tell you that, man. You can remember. I hardly meet people that kind of encyclopedia kind of mind, like memory. Brother Bakari have something similar to it when it comes to sports. But man, it's crazy. You know what I mean? I just wanted to let you know that, man. Oh,
yeah, I second that too. I second that as well. Trigger Happy in the chat says, yeah, definitely don't disagree with Bwana. Force will have to be used for the transitional period anyways, but we must aim to get to the point where it's internalized. He says, honestly, to wait the incoming climate change, watch Europeans take our practices and understanding of ecology and sell it back to Africa. You already see it slowly. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that too. Trigger Happy. But what Bwana said about Anthony is spot on, man. This guy has good recall, man. I wish I had it like that. This guy, Anthony could probably get a good score on the SATs and all that kind of shit if he was to do it. Is there any last thoughts on this prompt? All right. But Bakari asks Kofi, in case Kofi isn't looking at the screen, he says, Kofi, when are you doing your response to the panel you were on the other day? I didn't know Bakari was there for that. Or maybe he saw the playback, but yeah, I was there for that. That was an interesting panel. I'll be interested when you do your response as well, Kofi. You know what? Let's just go to Shooter Breeze topic number 4 tonight. Shooter Breeze topic number 4 says, Black people are still looking at Black people through blue eyes. In 2024, this takes us to X once again. It takes us to Sango's wrath. I've been seeing his tweets with some frequency. He says self-hate is a byproduct of white supremacy. Its purpose is to devalue the self-worth and cultural significance of all who suffer from it. Self-hate makes its victims agents of their own oppression. There's a 1-minute video here. We'll watch it and then we'll discuss it.
And one of the most important things I always have to speak about is the Black hate within Black people, the self-hate, because it's still 100% there. Now everybody is just extra fake about it. And it comes up in a lot of different little conversations. The dysphoria wars, that's one of them. The light and dark skin shit, again, that's another way. And it's deep. There was a study done, right? They took a bunch of white people and they flashed different faces in front of them. It was different white people, people of different races and things like that. They took their emotional reactions through scientific methods. Now, when a picture of a Black person came up, they almost jumped out their seat, bro. They were terrified, bro. But here's the real kicker of this experiment. They did the same shit with Black people. You would never fucking believe we had the exact same reaction. The exact same reaction.
One more time, I'll play it.
And one of the most important things I always have to speak about is the Black hate within Black people, the self-hate, because it's still 100% there. Now everybody is just extra fake about it. And it comes up in a lot of different little conversations. The dysphoria wars, that's one of them. The light and dark skin shit, again, that's another way. And it's deep. There was a study done, right? They took a bunch of white people and they flashed different faces in front of them. It was different white people, people of different races and things like that. They took their emotional reactions through scientific methods. Now, when a picture of a Black person came up, they almost jumped out their seat, bro. They were terrified, bro. But here's the real kicker of this experiment. They did the same shit with Black people. You would never fucking believe we had the exact same reaction. The exact same reaction.
No surprises there, really, but I guess it's something we can delve into. Black people are still looking at other Black people through blue eyes. You know, a part of me wants to even go back to that video we watched earlier tonight with the black folks beating up on the guy in the wheelchair. But I digress. Anthony, what say you to what you just saw?
Yeah, I agree with what the brother was saying. I want to take it back, go back a little bit. Okay, you remember it was a couple of years. It was a couple of years ago. Well, you know this sister. Her name is Tracy Ellis Ross. I think she's the daughter of Diana Ross. Y'all remember her, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, she she was doing like an interview or something like that. It was an interview and it was on television. And she was saying, and don't get me wrong, Tracy is an attractive woman. Now we know she's biracial. But anyway, she said she had made a statement. No, she had said that she was the quintessential black woman, beautiful black woman. No, she said that. And, you know, she caught a lot of flack from a lot of people in the black community about that. But she was saying how she was the quintessential black woman. You know what I'm saying? Here, her, a woman who was of mixed heritage and looked more white than black. You know what I'm saying? Saying that she was a quintessential woman. Okay, that's one thing. The second thing, it was this sister. She's in the UK. I don't know if y'all heard of her. She's a rapper. I don't know if she's a rapper. I think she's a rapper. She's an MC. She raps and she kind of sings a little bit. No, attractive sister. She used to go with Burna Boy. Her name is Steph London. Have y'all heard of her?
No, I'm not familiar with Steph London.
Steph London. Boy, I ain't never heard of Steph London.
I never heard of Steph London. I know.
Yeah,
I've never heard of her.
Yeah, y'all need to get into the UK rap scene. You know, I've been in tour for a minute. But her name is Steph London, and she's
I know the rap scene. I know Akala. I know Akala. I know this other brother called.
Yeah, I love Akala. I love Akala.
Yeah, but I don't know the Steph London.
But look, she was Burna Boy's girlfriend. They was dating for a couple of years. But anyway, she had made a statement that she said dark-skinned black women, like in the UK, were jealous of her because she was light-skinned, and that light-skinned was what black men in the UK preferred. No, that's something that she said. Okay, and my third and final thing is this right here. And I know Koku, I know you remember this. This was in New York City. Go back to the 90s. You remember there was a rap group in New York City. Remember called Prodigy? You remember that group?
Yeah.
Okay, called Prodigy. You know, these two brothers, one of them, because one of them died. One of them, he was sick. He had I don't know if he had sickle cell. He died a few years ago.
Oh, you talking about Mobb Deep?
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. No. Okay. It's Mobb Deep, but that was their name. Prodigy. Havoc and Prodigy. That was their name.
Prodigy, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that was the name. Thank you for correcting me, man. That was their names. Okay. If you remember, they had a song early in their career. It was a song, Coco. I'm trying to make you remember, man. I think it was like 89. It was around 89. They had a song called Hell of a. You remember the song called Hell of a?
No, I don't remember.
Okay, it was a song that went hell of a. Okay, he was rapping about a sister who was his beauty standard. And he said in the song, light skin and good hair. You know what I'm saying? Light skin and good hair. She had the long wavy hair and she was light skinned. No, the dark skinned dude in Mobb Deep. You know what I'm saying? And the song was called Hell of a. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, this is something we all of us already know. This is something that's been ingrained in our DNA since the white folks started messing with us. Since the enslavement period and colonization period. I could think of what I was just going to tell you. I remember a couple of years ago at the BET Awards when what's his name? This old drunk ass fool, the rapper from LA, YG, got up on stage with this other fool from Florida, this old black brother. What's this crazy dude name? I think he's a Haitian brother. Kodak Black. Kodak Black, talking about getting up there talking about now we got light skinned daughters and everything, those stuff like this here. So I mean, this kind of thing, man, it's been ingrained in us for so long, man. The self hatred thing, like I said, rooting from slavery and colonialism that I want to be anything other than black. Because when I think of black, I think of the same European talking points: a savage, uncouth, uneducated. You know what I'm saying? I mean, illiterate. There's a barbarian. I mean, nothing culture ain't never presented nothing for to humanity culture wise. I mean, that's that self hatred that we learned from being brainwashed through enslavement and colonialism. So I mean, it's something that's been with us forever, man, and that's it is the reason why we doing shows like this, man, to kind of educate our people and turn our minds, the other way, man. And I don't want to talk too long, man. I knock off right there, Coco.
Before you go, Anthony, is this the lady on the screen? The UK rapper, is that her? Who caused the controversy? Anthony, you're muted if you're talking.
Hey, yeah. She have her hair a lot of different ways, wear a lot of wigs and stuff. But yeah, that looks like a Steph London.
Okay. Bakari says he remembers the song "Hell of a." I feel like I heard it. I feel like I heard someone playing it on Twitter recently, actually, and I wasn't familiar with it. Earlier, Trigapi says our old beauty standards proves to me that African always value blackness. Now it's about being closer to white. Afro-Native World says Biggie did the same type of thing. Prodigy them did as well. And Bakari mentions, and I remember this one, the guys who did the song Halle Berry a little while ago, a few years ago. Jose in the chat says pitch black should be our epitome of beauty. With that said, Jose, what would you like to also add to that?
This topic is about the brother speaking about this psychological test that was done, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. This one and the other one with the wheeled killer. Both of them come from me, but they are supposed to, every episode I want to remind us of that aspect, how we treat ourselves. It wasn't supposed to be because it's the same subject, so I don't know what to say. It's the same subject. I suggested it with the same intent to remind us that how we look at us. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to add to what I said on the previous topic with the wheeled killer. We look to ourselves through blue eyes. What can we do about it? What can we do to make black our standard of beauty? What can we do to make us care about if we move into a new neighborhood. To look up each other, to get to know us in the neighborhood. What is it that we can do to change? What is it? What can heal us? What can heal that white? What can kick out that white man out of our minds? I want to ask the panel that what can change it? What can turn us back to liking ourselves? That's a question for the panel.
Jose, I forgot that you had posted this. So usually I let the poster kind of anchor the conversation. So what I'll do is I'll go to Buana and Oni next. And if you have any thoughts to what they say, I'll let you anchor after that.
Buana, Good idea.
Buana,
Oh,
you heard what Joe said, just
yes.
added the question he added. What say you to all of it?
Well, I have an answer for that, and it's been an answer that's been throughout history and time. You know, from when I think the Greeks and even the Egyptians, the people from Kemet say, "Man, know thyself," and then Elijah Muhammad, I'm talking about, knowledge of self is important. Knowledge of self is key. I think that the Black people, need to learn more about themselves, learn about the importance of themselves when they place themselves in history, and understanding that we are the first human beings of creation, and we are the people who we worship and praise today. And I think that presence been there for hundreds of thousands of years, and all the innovations. I think that knowledge itself is key in trying to displace that little white mind inside our brain. I think that's very important. But as far as the songs, because Anthony get me on the songs now. I had two messages growing up. Okay, I understand the white man message when you see the TV screens and you see these images of light-skinned people, and you see what the beauty standards that they was trying to embed into the minds of the people, from a black star, but brown skin.
Hey, bro, you cut it out.
With Mos Def and Talib Kweli, that was a big song for me. I always remember that song. And Browning by Buju Banton, I was a reggae singer, and he sang a song called Browning. Oh, okay. Can you all hear me now? 1 2 1 2. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Come back to me, Koku.
All right, I'll come back to you. Oni,
so Brown. Okay.
Buana, I'll come back to you. Let's just get your audio correct. I'll come back.
Okay, no sweat. No sweat. Yeah, okay.
Oni will say you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say this. It's partly the music, it's partly the religion. And the reason why I say religion is because this phenomenon that we see is obviously one, it's self-inflicted, right? Obviously. In the sense of, like hip-hop and all that jazz. But the other one is that it precedes hip-hop, right? When we talk about Assata Shakur, you read her autobiography, she tells you that there was this brother who was looking at her. Now, Assata Shakur, for what it's worth, is herself kind of light-skinned, if I remember correctly. Well, not light-skinned, maybe. I don't know. But regardless, some brother was, trying to holler at her, but he was dark-skinned. And he's a nice boy, kept trying to holler. And then she told him one time, ew, I don't want no dark skin. You know what I'm saying? And this is in elementary school, right? So as to say that whole colorism issue goes way back. Because, Assata Shakur is going to elementary school in like the 1950s or 1940s, if not the 1940s. So it goes way back. But of course, you got to remember that the media that we put out on ourselves, or better yet, the media that other people put out on us, but we fully participate in, is very, very negative, to the point where the response you're going to have to that kind of, image, most of us are not going to have that positive image regardless. And I mean, maybe if you, remind you of this, I'll tell you, I'll put it this way. In fact, one time, long time ago, and this kind of be a little bit graphic, a little bit nasty, I guess. Not really, but one time, a long time ago, this guy, actually, you know what? Let me not tell you this story. Well, my point is this. So unfortunately, you're in a society, and I'll tell the story. Here's what it is. At some point, this guy, I think I showed this guy a clip, like an adult clip, and then he goes and says, ew, he doesn't look at that kind of stuff. He looks at only, black adult clips. And at the time, I didn't really like. I wasn't looking at it per se. And the dude said something like, it's an acquired taste, you know. um and it hit me, and of course, you train yourself to do it, but to train yourself to look at it. But the whole point was, um a lot of, like, the quote unquote appreciation that we no right the appreciation that we have for black people um is an acquired taste for us. And what does that and by acquired taste, what I mean is, uh we are, if you're exposing yourself to white media, or you're exposing yourself to the white, white TV, because like Jose said, just turn off the TV. But if you don't turn off the TV, right, what you're going to find is that you are being indoctrinated to, for white is right and black get back. And what we have done, right, the people listening here, a lot of the pro black people, what we have done is, we've tried to negate uh that propaganda. Now, we have not everybody's done it perfectly, but the reality is that as long as you are engaging with the Western media, you're engaging in you're engaging in propaganda for black self-hate and for white love. And it gets, and one of the worst forms of propaganda, or one of the most effective forms of propaganda, is that religion. Because again, remember that they didn't have this, I mean, they did have that media enterprise in the, the 50s, 40s, whatever. But um it's that religion too. It's that whole, because one thing I'll notice is this, because in Tanzania, where I go sometimes, right? Um, there is the population is pretty split between Muslim and Christian. But the thing I notice is that when you talking to a Christian woman, right, she kind of might have this whole white is right mentality, whereas the Muslim would think, oh, I don't like the white people, right? But the Muslim would have a pro-Arab type mentality, you know. So their ideal guy is, an Arab man, right? Or if not a Islam, it's not a Muslim black man, but an Arab man, and their ideal vacation is to Dubai, right? Whereas, for the Christian, their ideal vacation is to America or Europe, and their ideal guy is a European, right? I'm talking about the women, right? So, I mean, if they're not, explicitly, pro-black or exclusively black, they are, they're going according to their religion, and of course, the religion serves a point where, one of the main things it does is it says, you know, as Razzcast put it, puts white people closer to God. It makes divinity into a certain, like, it assigns divinity to a certain tribe, and that tribe being either Arab or, the European phenotype. And of course, I know some people will say, "Hey, look, Jesus was not, maybe, I don't know." But the point is, uh, the image that is propagating in the Western world, or the Westernized world, is of, blue eyes, brown hair, type white man, right? That said, uh, that said, yeah, of course, like one thing you could say about African Americans is they consume white media. Okay, they consume white media. I sometimes call social media just a media social, right? Where you're just sitting around discussing whatever this white boy put in front of you to do it. Now, like I said, you're not gonna necessarily find people in Africa not dealing with this sort of, self-hate, because like I said, they have the religion stuff. But what I can say is this: when I went to a certain tribal, like I went to a certain village, and like my experience inside of the village versus my experience inside the city tells me that, yeah, if you're not dealing with this media, if you're not dealing with this religion, right, you're good. But if you're dealing with this media and you're dealing with this religion, you're screwed. Because obviously, if white is divine, if Arab is divine, then what is black, right? And if black people, particularly in America, are just doing degenerate music. And in fact, they do degenerate music all over, really. But if black people are doing degenerate music and, promoting violence against themselves, right, you're gonna have a reaction to black people that you wouldn't have for white folk, because even though white people are the most, violent people on the planet, even though white people are the most degenerate people on the planet, right? They're not like they are. If they have that in the media, it's not their only representation. So if they have the goth, or they have the hard rock or whatever, it's niche. But for black folk, it's like, I'm telling you, like I was just on my way to the bank just recently, and I'd see these two brothers handshake and call themselves the N-word. It is very, very, very common for black folk to denigrate themselves. If denigrate's the good word, it's very, very common for black people to be associated with, violence, self-inflicted violence, or intraracial violence. It's very, very, it's very common. So I think, yeah, if black people have the same reaction as white people, yeah, we're consuming the same media, and that media is not our friend. But if you did this study inside of a African village, you wouldn't get the same result. That's what I'll say.
Excellent points, Oni. I appreciate that. In the chat, Trigger Happy says, to me, that just proves the point that the desire for interracial relationships are not natural. Making it seem like they are natural in this reality makes no sense. He says it also means that the combination of being yourself and nurturing and institutionalizing, that is what is really normal. Lastly, he says religions are supranational communities. They align you to another people, and you find spiritual solidarity with another people as opposed to black people. That pretty much informs dating too. I want to just point out quickly before I go to Buana, or go back to Buana. I want to point out that Oni said something that's kind of a blow to my spirit on some levels, because it's true. He said, kind of loving blackness, black attributes and stuff is kind of an acquired taste. And that's so, it's true, number one, but it's so hurtful in a sense that we've been propagandized, institutionalized through religion, all that kind of stuff, that our own, who we are at the core and what's supposed to be attractive to us naturally is an acquired taste. So like Oni pointed out, folks like us who are pro-black, Pan-African, Gaviites, etc., we tend to push this thing, but for the majority of the folks, to get what we're talking about will have to be an acquired taste. That's really something to think about. It's kind of hurtful on some levels, to be quite frank. Let's go to Buana, and then Anthony. I think Anthony has some things to add, and then we'll let Jose anchor the conversation. Buana,
Am I coming through?
now you're cracking up even worse. All right.
You hear me now?
Now you're still cracking up.
Come after me again.
All right, Anthony, what say you while Buana fixes his audio?
Yeah, hey man, I don't know, Koku, man, just listening to what you had just said about, I agree with you too, man. It's like it's disheartening, man. And I'd be like, damn. Sometimes I don't know what to think. But no, I pretty much, I agree with I love with everything that Oni was talking about, man. Yeah, I ain't gonna take too long, man. I pretty much agree with what he was talking about, man. I'll leave it at that, man.
All right, Buana just stepped away to fix his audio, so I'm gonna ask Jose if he has anything he wants to add now that he's heard what most everyone else had to say.
Yeah. When I made some notes. Buana suggested to know thyself, but the problem is we have this situation with the United States being some kind of marketing thing, right? The United States is a corporation of mercenaries, workers that pay the bills. Mercenaries that keep everybody in check, the police inside, the military outside, and the mannequins. And the mannequins is like the millionaire lifestyle, the American dream, right? The mannequins are showcasing the American dream, and so in this situation, yeah, maybe I don't know, right? You guys that live in the United States, you know better. Maybe know thyself actually means something in the United States and triggers people to join some kind of grassroots movement to pick up some books, etc. Right? But in the rest of the world, know thyself is a slogan. I can walk to the next room and show T-shirts that I sell with that yell on it, right? With an ankh. Yeah, cute. Know thyself. Yeah, cute. Okay, and right. So it may work where it comes from, but outside it becomes a slogan. I added as note. I even added Michael Brown, and I'm wondering when maybe I'm wrong, right? So Black Lives Matter, another slogan, right? And I I I think I'm onto something when I say they hit Michael Brown and they gave us a bomb, right? So now you have around the world, maybe even next to MLK. Now you have Floyd, right? Okay, it's a brother. I'm sorry for using the word bomb, but there's another slogan. There's another logo. His face, right? But I remember the Black Lives Matter starting with "Hands Up, Don't Shoot," and that was Michael Brown, and Michael Brown did well at school, and he had maybe even a promising career in college football. So if in that example actually proves that maybe even inside of the United States, it's all just a slogan and feel good yells, right? So that was on the note. Slogan, know thyself, right? So I don't think that will work. Everything is entertainment or a label or a slogan or an identity that our, especially our people, pick up and do nothing with it. And then only we are so versatile with language. So white is right and black get back. I think white is right doesn't even it doesn't even do that much in practice, right? In the narrative, yes, but in the streets it's more like black get back, because all brown people also, if they when push comes to shove, it's rather black get back than compete with white men, right? So yeah, everybody rather protect their job, etc. And that comes down to black get back, that job is mine, be it I'm an illegal or I'm an Hispanic, the third generation immigrant. So in practice it's black get back. And then the narrative, yes, religion does play part. My family in Africa, they are Christian, but they are against images, right? It's some kind of Brazilian Protestant stream, and they don't use images, but white man is still holy, right? And even with even with how do you call that one religion that claims to not be a religion, atheist, even black atheists, rather feather hot word, they rather feather to a white society to maybe they are paying a mortgage or a student loan or whatever that makes them choose for the white capitalist world system rather than do something with us, right? So what I'm actually doing, I'm summing up all kinds of angles in which always the choice is always not us, right? So the narrative, the white man, I have a slogan lately. I have a slogan. And the slogan is, it's not oil, it's not gas, it's not oil, it's not gold, it's not even big data. Narrative is the most valuable commodity of the West, right? So the West is selling narrative, and that's actually everything that they have to do. The whole world brings their wealth to them because that's the narrative, right? So everybody wants to go to their colleges and universities, etc., etc. I mean, I hope you understand what I mean. So maybe that's it. Maybe we should have a narrative, and the narrative should be there from birth. So yeah, institutionalize. And then we yeah, trigger happy, I guess. Trigger happy gave the answer. Institutionalizing. And what is that? Institutionalizing, educating children, family, right? That's the basic, the base institution is family. So again, yeah, I mean, at the root where we fail, the reason behind us not able to unite is we are not, we're not even united in the family. I yeah, I did not expect this, but I think I just answered my my own question. So yeah, our family is broken, and that's why we are broken, the cornerstone of society. And I yield the mic.
I also like what Afro Native World said earlier too. He said it's the month of Musaya, meaning Gavi, and the solution is to teach Gaviism. And I think I would add that to what Jose and Trigger Happy said. You got, if you're gonna be Gaviite, you got to bring up Gaviite families too. When you have these children and stuff like that, they're from out of the womb. They gotta have red, black, and green around them. You know, like they gotta be brought into this thing from the beginning. And I think that will go a long way in the future. Let's see if Buana got his audio going. Buana?
Can you hear me? 1 2
Oh yeah,
1 2. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Okay. So I want to go back to touch on, or at least to clarify what I mean when I say that knowledge itself is an important feature, and I can show how it's implemented. If anyone has been watching the Olympics, for instance, they would have seen two things that is uncanny. It don't usually happen, and it's because these people then really had the belief that they could do what they did, that they end up on top of the heap. You saw a girl from St. Lucia win the 100 meters in the Olympics, even after all the hype around the American athlete and what she was going to do. This lady had the ability to win the Olympics in the 100 meters. First girl in history to do that, right? And she had to have the self-belief that she could have done that, even against the most talented people in the world, even against the people who had the more equipment, who had the more facilities. She had the belief within herself that I could come up with the win in this. You have to have that belief in the world because you are competing with the rest of the world. There's another man from Botswana who won a race, and prior to that race, the American athlete was dancing around trying to intimidate all the other athletes and winners or runners in the race itself. But the Botswana, the guy who came out of nowhere, who no one knew about, actually won the race. And he was the person who was supposed to be slaughtered to win that race. Botswana wasn't even in the conversation. There's an important thing in saying, well, okay, these people are big, these people are mighty, these people have historical or whatever, but I believe in me. I believe that I'm gonna be a competitor. Not only I'm gonna be a competitor, I gonna be at the end of the day, I'll end up at the top of the heap. You have to have an internal belief in yourself first and foremost, bro, because you are competing with the rest of everyone else. And if you take that scenario off of the track and use that in different fields of life, maybe it wouldn't be a situation where I am already defeated when I enter the room. And I see in politicians, black politicians, when they in audiences of greater states or countries and stuff like that, they kind of like cower. But you sometimes you meet individuals from small countries that they could talk with the best of them. They'll talk with a Russian prime minister or American prime minister or president because they have an internal self-belief. They know who they are and they understand, well, I am just speaking to men just like me. And these are the people you remember in history. You must have a idea of self-belief and knowledge about who you are. That's I feel like that's where you start. That's why I say the things that I say, and that's why I feel like this. If you start from there and you start implementing these things in your daily life, I feel like the outcomes it'll look a whole lot different for us. This man has mentioned the fact that we have a lot of self-hatred. Not only does the black man have self-hatred, but the black man suffer from severe low self-esteem as well. He suffers from severe low self-esteem. And I feel like sometimes when he enters the room, behind everybody else. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that we always end up last. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and some things are external, absolutely, but there are many things that are internal that we, as black men and people in general, that we have to work on, and this self-belief is one of the things that we have to work on. The self-belief that we come first, the knowing that I am the best too. Let's see who's the best at the end of the day. That is an important feature, I feel, that we forget to talk about and address. And these things don't get implemented. They don't get implemented. That's why I feel like we are always last. It's not because we ain't talented or less talented. It's not because we less creative. It's not that we less intellectual. I feel like it's a self-belief kind of thing. You have to know who you are. And you could sit in the room with anyone and be their equivalent or better than, outbest them. But that's what I think, and I just really wanted to clarify. As far as the black thing, my position is on this. Is as far as the black thing is this. In growing up, yes, I had the images of the light-skinned woman and things of that nature, but I also remember Buju Banton singing about brown and Richie Spice singing about brown skin, and all the reggae artists who always singing songs about black women and lauding black women and dark brown women and things of that nature. Then I remember some of the rap songs I used to hear from the Black Star. I just had a dualistic messaging sent to me, but I grew and I got a better appreciation for blackness through reading and studying and knowing my own self too. Because I can't think when the white man get and say, well, what about me too? What about me? What do I add and bring to the table? Where's my beauty? The Olympics showed you blackness on every facet and every different kind of level. You're seeing tall, skinny, strong black women running in track and field. You see short black women in gymnastics doing their thing. You know what I mean? You see black women throwing javelins and what's the other thing name? I can't remember what it means. You see black women and men at their best in all different forms and features. Now, if blackness is an acquired taste, I feel sorry that we have to acquire the taste of blackness when the whole world could appreciate the blackness on different kinds of levels. And watching that, and based on watching the Olympics, you see the swimming meets where the black men had long stretched bodies and stuff like that. They look like fishes in the water. We bring a different dynamic to the table. And if that is an acquired taste, I feel sorry for us, man. I don't feel sorry for us, but I think that we'll eventually get it. We ain't get it yet, but I think that we have a big learning curve, but we'll eventually get it. But I digress and I'll leave it there.
In the chat, Bakari was mentioning he was at the same time as you, he was echoing this Olympic thing and talking about how many black folks playing for America, and Trigger added those who are rooting for America. You know, I saw something along those lines to what Juan was saying as well. I saw something where one boy from Grenada competed for Britain and won a medal. I can't remember in what area it was, but you know, Grenada could have gotten that accolade. In fact, in our hometown, one gal she performed, was it Canada or something? She performed for some country, but she's of Bahamian background too, and she won an award as well. A medal as well. The biggest disappointment would be Joel Embiid. Could have played for his home country. There's another player in the NBA, Pascal Siakam, from the same country. Pascal has gone back and played on his national team, and Embiid pushing to be on the U.S. team, which is insane. You just to be a part of the American exceptionalism, as Trigger and them have been talking about in the chat as well, that you went and you chose America and an overstacked team to begin with. Whereas if you had gone and played with an African team, we would have a better chance, to compete. I'm just talking about being competitive and stuff like that, and being loyal to your own people, winning competition and stuff like that. Anyway, man, does anyone have any last thoughts on this prompt? Speak them now.
Yeah. Hey, can I say something, Goku?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm like you. I was watching the Olympics and I was watching the Olympics with a friend of mine, man. And we were just talking. She said, it made me think about remember what Issa Rae said? I'm rooting for everybody black. But I was like, I had a look here when I was the first. I remember in the preliminaries when the United States played South Sudan. Man, I wanted South Sudan to win so bad. You know what I'm saying? I was going, man. I was rooting for him, man. I was like, I was there rooting for him. And then, in light of the shit that Paul Pierce and Gilbert Arenas had said, talking about the South Sudanese team, and I'm just like, look at these Negroes, man. Here you go now. You got Paul Pierce, well, we know Paul Pierce don't have any kind of African conscience. We already know he don't. He's never exhibited that. But here we go. We got a brother like Gilbert Arenas, who's an Afro-Cuban brother. You know what I'm saying? He's an Afro-Cuban brother and Afro-Caribbean brother. It seemed like his parents, who were both from Cuba, would have kind of put some kind, of education in his mind. But he has a long history of anti-blackness. There was some years ago where he was calling Lupita Nyong'o ugly. You know what I'm saying? So he got a history of that. But I was watching the Olympics, man, and I was just like, and my family, we was over at times, and they were like, man, were you going against the U.S.? I say, no, you know what? I would love to see our brothers and sisters win. If they win, I'm not gonna root for America. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be hurrah, come on, America. But if they win, I would be glad to see Sha'Carri win. Any of the brothers and sisters win in the events. But for the most part, man, I was going for all of the black countries. You know what I'm saying? That sister Jillian, when she won from St. Lucia, man, I jumped up out my seat. I was happy as hell. You know what I'm saying? I posted it on my Facebook. And then when the brother Leslie Tobogo from Botswana won, man, I posted that on my Facebook. You know what I'm saying? And I had family members wanting to thump me upside the head. You know what I'm saying? Everybody like, man, what you doing? I had to sit up there and talk to them. I was looking at France. Here we go. You got these brothers and sisters who play for France. So who was competing for France? I'm like, France is the number one evil. The worst colonizer in Africa today. All of them bad. You know what I'm saying? But we know about the struggle that brother Traore and the brother from Niger and from Mali, going through fighting to end French influence in Africa now. And I'm like, man, really? Y'all could really hoist up listen at them play the French national anthem and hoist up that flag, just like some of these brothers and sisters hoisting up that American flag. Hell, you already know what that shit mean. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I would be ashamed. Well, I know they don't have the conscience that we have, though. It's taught to them. Y'all better not say that. Y'all go back. We was looking at the 1968 Olympics, man, with John Carlos and them and Tommy Smith. We did a class about that this week, man. For the Olympics. That was our work class. But yeah, man, I was rooting for everybody from black countries. You know what I'm saying? I was proud of the brother from Cuba. He won his 5th gold medal in wrestling. I think of Mijan Lopez. You know what I'm saying? He won his 5th gold medal in wrestling. Olympic wrestling. Like I said, it was a sister who was from Dominica, not the Dominican Republic, but from Dominica. She won a gold medal. I think it was either wrestling or powerlifting. One of them. I ain't 100% sure. I know she was a big, powerful, muscular sister, but she won a gold medal. And like I said, like we said, the sister from Dominica, from St. Lucia won. And the brother, I was real happy for the brother though, man. From Botswana when he won, man. And then, they trying to paint a narrative. Noah Lyles going around talking about he had COVID and all of this old mess. You know what I'm saying? He looked as strong when he was standing at that line before the race happened. You know what I'm saying? He looked like he was ready. You know what I'm saying? And then after the race, you come walking out there looking strong, you race, you lost, and now all of a sudden they got to carry your ass off in a wheelchair. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, come on, man, be for real. If you got COVID, if I got COVID, you got COVID, hell, I won't come out there and endanger nobody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Well, you gonna endanger somebody else. You all out there hugging people and everything. We won't worry about spreading COVID then. But anyway, I'm just saying, man, yeah, it was quite a thing, man. And I was just so happy. Buana stole my thunder because that's what I wanted to let my last thing be, man. Big up to the brother from Botswana. But yeah, man, I'll knock off right there, man. I didn't mean to take up too much time.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, I found it. Well, two things. I used to like Gilbert Arenas as a basketball player, so I used to tune into his basketball show up until this whole thing he did with the South Sudanese team. KW Don 7 in the chat mentioned that he just got engaged to a French African, Melly Monaco. She's a YouTuber. And black woman. So kudos to him. Not to make excuses, I do think Gilbert is playing stupid. In fact, he's kind of admitted to it with other things in the past, but he kind of plays dumb to cause the controversy, to cause discussions, to increase the visibility of his show and stuff like that too. So I think he kind of intentionally did that, but I don't want to make excuses for nobody. But it's just my observation. You know what? Let's go to Shooter Breeze topic number 5 tonight. This will be the last topic for the night. Shooter Breeze topic number 5 says, is she right or wrong? Let's see who she is. This takes us to Instagram. I'm going to play it a few times, I guess, because I never know how to start these things from the beginning. So let me try to restart.
Be louder than him. I didn't interrupt him because that's already knew I had him because there was simply no competition out there for me. But let's just look at it objectively. You had this average Black American guy who now was able to choose between what he was dealing with before and somebody completely new. And let me tell you, the moment I stepped into that man's life, he really didn't know how to deal with my femininity because I was not loud. I was not screaming. I was not trying to, be louder than him. I didn't interrupt him because that's not something that I learned from home. If somebody would speak, and especially a man, you would let that man speak and then you would listen and then say whatever you have to say, right? So I was clean. I cooked. He didn't know what it was when a woman is actually in the room asking him, like, do you want something to drink? before I got myself something to drink? Do you want something to eat? Before I started to eat my food, I would ask him, do you want to have a bite? I would come out of nowhere and just have a fruit bowl and just offer him some fruit. He didn't know none of this. So my husband, back then boyfriend, really thought this was a dream come true. He didn't know how to deal with none of this because all this me coming through, just being nurturing by nature, his peoples and his family didn't even do that for him. You know, like the family, there is no family unit. The average family, especially Black American family, has barely a family unit. You know, there is no breakfast, lunch, and dinner at set times. And these are things that I introduced my husband to with my family. I already knew I had him because there was simply no competition out there for me. But let's just look at it objectively. You had this average Black American guy who now was able to choose between what he was dealing with before and somebody completely new. And let me tell you, the moment I stepped into that man's life, he really didn't know how to deal with my femininity because I was not loud. I was not screaming. I was not trying to, you know, be louder than him. I didn't interrupt him because that's not something that I learned from home. If somebody would speak, and especially a man, you would let that man speak and then you would listen and then say whatever you have to say, right? So I was clean. I cooked. He didn't know what it was when a woman is actually in the room asking him, like, do you want something to drink? Before I got myself something to drink. Do you want something to eat? Before I started to eat my food, I would ask him, do you want to have a bite? I would come out of nowhere and just have a fruit bowl and just offer him some fruit. He didn't know none of this. So my husband, back then boyfriend, really thought this was a dream come true. He didn't know how to deal with none of this because all this me coming through, just being nurturing by nature, his peoples and his family didn't even do that for him. You know, like the family, there is no family unit. The average family, especially Black American family, has barely a family unit. You know, there is no breakfast, lunch, and dinner at set times. And these are things that I introduced my husband to with my family. I already knew I had.
So I played it out about twice. I think you guys get the gist. Jose in the chat seems to be familiar with the woman. He says, that's that German woman from TikTok. Okay. I had no idea. So I appreciate someone who I guess is aware of who this person is. Some of the comments to this video said people are missing the biggest point of what she said, which is that she chose an average level man. She wasn't looking for a rich, super high value kind of man. Most people who take this approach will win when it comes to long-term relationship success. Someone else said she picked up a man from a broken home and made his story everyone's story. Use stereotypes to make him feel like she is better than he is, and probably reminds him every day how quote unquote lucky he is. If she is so wonderful, why didn't a white man snatch her up? I like that. Someone else says, Miss White Woman, you have a powerful message, but your presentation is what's wrong. As a Black man, I can appreciate what you have done for your Black husband, but that's what you are supposed to do as his wife. Now, I think you could have been better received if you brought up how your history and family dynamics are vastly different from a Black woman because your ancestors probably weren't slaves and didn't have the same hardships as we have had. Also, be clear, when Black men typically date outside their race, then they typically have many deficits that no woman, Black, white, brown, yellow, or red, should have to put up with. Enjoy your Black man. Man, boy, I tell you, you know. Anyway, with that said, let me mix it up quite a bit for this one. Let me start off with Oni for this one. Oni, what say you on this?
Yeah, so Passport Bros. All right. No, I think if you take away the race and you just say she's talking about being a feminine woman, and maybe I wouldn't really attach femininity to white women, but let's just pretend like we like that's probably what she's saying. Then yeah, there's a lot of Black men are not going to experience quote unquote feminine women, and a lot of Black women are not going to experience quote unquote masculine men. And I think that's really at the heart of the problem. And truly, if you do come along as masculine or or as a woman does come along as feminine, it is a different experience. Um, I'll even put it this way: a lot of times, and it's not even just that. It's not even just stereotypical different experiences. A lot of times, you can be a very different experience for people. So like a lot of women that I dated, I was a different experience. I wouldn't necessarily say I was always masculine, you know, in a good way, right? I don't want to say I was always that, and obviously there are different brands of masculinity as well. So that's something to keep in mind. But um, she just, if you take away the race thing, right? She just happened to, I guess, be a, I guess the guy appreciates some of the stuff she does, and I'll tell you this because I when I went to Africa, I dated a handful of women, right? But the woman that I let's say engaged, right? Her, like, yeah, the experience living with her is definitely a different experience. Uh, I've been married before. Um, I definitely did not marry originally uh, a quote unquote feminine woman. You know what I mean? Definitely none of that. This. I'll cook for you. I'll serve you first, and I'll do all that kind of stuff. None of that stuff. Um, uh, Now, like the woman I'm currently engaged to, yeah, she's definitely doing that kind of stuff. But I'll say this: I think it's pretty damn rare to see this in America. Um, and unfortunately, because here's the thing too, when I'm listening to this woman, I'm like, she's not even that quiet. So even though she's saying, hey, Black American women are loud, yeah, Black American women are loud, but she was loud too. She's, or Black American women might be argumentative. Yeah, this woman's giving it an argument, you know. One thing I can say about the woman that, like, because there were several women in Africa who were pretty damn, chill. You know what I mean? Pretty damn chill, pretty damn smooth, pretty damn. I would feed you. I look forward to feeding you. There was a woman, in fact, after post coital, right? She just started cleaning my bathroom and cleaning my house. It was kind of like, what the uh very, and this was a woman I wasn't even interested in. Like, it was just like, at the time it was just, whatever, right? She, like, and she cleaned my place to the point where I was like, don't clean my place because people are gonna know that I had guests. you know like, like she wasn't even like a top priority. But like, yeah, if you like the what I would say is this: if you want the quote unquote feminine women, um I would say, yeah, probably not America, because one of the things, I'll put it this way: one of the reasons why you could be feminine or masculine is how the economy is, and your economic standing. Because one of the things that I picked up on really quickly in Tanzania, if you guys remember, was a lot of the men were like, I said beta. They were beta AF. They were not confident. They were, blah blah blah, right? So I mean, although I did see some masculine tendencies, but like generally speaking, you wouldn't really see too many, you know, uh, confident, masculine, tough dudes in the country, and the economy sucked. But what happens, I think, in America is that the economy is pretty good for women, and so maybe they don't have to be feminine. You know what I mean? Like, um, in Africa, a woman has to be feminine. Because the economy sucks for her too. But you know, y- like basically, she's waiting for a guy to come along and rescue her. You get what I'm saying? From the trials of the earth. Women are not really waiting for you to uh save them in the West, because the only person, like, because unfortunately the white boy's busy saving them with either a job, or he probably has a better economy than you, but and he's accessible to them, and he's like, he's picking through trying to get your women. You know what I mean? He's preying on your women with a bigger bank than you. You know what I mean? Like, Donald Trump is grabbing women by the vagina, but he's grabbing black women too. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you go to, like I said, Passport Bros, you go to Africa, you are the you're basically the basketball player, right? You have a bigger economy, you're a bigger bank, and the women want you and need you, and they're willing to, and they really, like, I think women really do want to do what this woman's describing, you know, this femininity. They really want to, but you know, America kind of's like, you can't do that and be a professional, and that's where things go wrong for a lot of men in the West. But that's all I'll say.
Appreciate that, Oni. Jose in the chat said, good point. Another marketed identity. The loud black woman used to be the frolic, LOL. Jose, explain that and give your overall thoughts on what this white woman said. Is she right or wrong?
Yeah, so I saw her in a slightly different video on TikTok, and it was like, I don't know, a lot of people were talking about it. I believe she even popped up in on X, Twitter, and I don't want to say she had good points, but I was in the whole thing, I was siding with the brother, right? The things that she named that he wasn't used to, yeah, that sounded familiar to me, right? So I had to side with the absent brother, because it's in all the videos it's her talking to the camera, but I had to side with the absent brother because of the comments, and there's another thing. It was hard to defend the brother, at least in the angle that I tried, because there were a lot of how should I call it, children of single German mothers, of which the father they split. The father returned from most of the time, or maybe all of the time, it's the father is a military, someone from one of the many American bases in Germany, so it was hard to defend the brother, or to stand on the side of the brother, because he decided to stay in Germany. So I'm guessing it's a good guy, right? And but in the cases of those in the comments, their black father returned to the United States and quote unquote left their mother single in Germany. I'm guessing a lot, if not most, of these guys proposed the mother to come with them. And I don't know if it's true, but I'm guessing most of the black and quote unquote Hispanic people that join the army, they do it as an opportunity, because they come from not so wealthy background. So I'm guessing these mothers decided to stay, and then they tell the children that their black father left. But anyway, I in the whole story, I sided with the brother. Like, our communities, I'm guessing worldwide, I'm seeing too much similarities with here in the Netherlands and the United States. It's kind of harsh, our communities are kind of harsh. So I sided with the brother. That's what I want to say. I pass the mic.
Appreciate that, Jose. In the chat, but Bakari says that bitch is wrong. She can't tell me nothing about a sister or black family structure. She shouldn't get no attention from us. I kind of agree with that as well. Let's see what Buana says. Buana, is she?
No, me personally, I could put my conspiratory hat on now. I think that this is a marketing video, and I can tell you why. I say that in a minute. On the internet, nothing is as what it seems. Nothing. Most of the time. Remember, we watched a video where there was this Somali American lady who said that she got hit in the face with a brick. You remember that? And then it came out You know, that swelling that we saw and wasn't really a swelling, you know, and it was just a made up fabricated thing. Nothing, because what her intention really was to get gullible black people to send her money, especially women. I think that this lady is campaigning. I think that this is a marketing video, and here's why. You know, for all the brothers in the room, me personally, let me speak for me, myself. My woman would never ever go on the internet talking about what she's do in her personal life with me. I don't give a shit if I've never shown or anything like that. That's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? In fact, you know, if you are living in a pleasant relationship with a woman, two partners living together, usually they don't voluntarily disclose what's going on personally in the relationship. So I'm looking at this situation in a very side. I say, well, what is she trying to get at? When she says in this video, she does all of these kinds of things for her man, right? Gullible black men who I know look at this and say, well, you know what? I could do better than he doing. And then they can start soliciting her. They can either try to get in a relationship with her on the side, you know, by texting her, or they could try to send trick money at her, or trips with her, or send her things. Yeah, and that's how I'm looking at this video. Because there are gullible men who are there to say, well, she dates black men, so there's a chance for me. They don't respect the institution of marriage at all. Yeah, so I could get her for myself. Let me try to text her on the side and see if I could get her number, reach out to her to see what's the deal. See if she willing to go for it. Now, I don't know this woman. This woman can say, well, okay, you need to send me this. Okay, we could get together on the weekend. Let you, as long as you do this for me. Or she may legitimately be trying to get dates from black dudes. I don't know what her intention is, but it just seems to be very odd for her to just spill the beans on her personal relationship, because I understand that nothing on the internet is as what it seems. You know, there's an ulterior motive to do these things. I don't think it's necessarily to shame black women. I just think it's to, you know, market this video to men who gonna probably try to solicit her on the side to get either things or something, you know, something. There's something behind this. And that's how I see it. This is a big marketing video. Now, that's my conspiratorial hat. I could be completely wrong, but that's how I look at this video. I'll leave it there, Kuku.
I appreciate that, Buana. Anthony, you've heard everything else everyone has had to say about it. What say you to it?
Yeah, I'm about to bust somebody in the mouth now, man. But yeah, no, I think you know what? Okay, I'm gonna try to go. I'm gonna go from this angle right here. I think when I heard that, I listened to the whole thing, and I mean, first let me say this: I was just joking about busting somebody in the mouth. Though. What I'm saying, I think that when I heard this, to me, it made me think about Candace Owens. You know, Candace Owens, and who was that other sister? That other sister, who was married to a white man. Remember, the twin. Well, she was they had a talk show, and she was saying some stuff, and it basically was some talking points from her husband. Okay, when I hear that, yeah, what'd you say, Goku? Yeah, okay, yeah. You're right. Okay, when I heard what that woman was saying, what that white woman was saying, to me, you know what it sounded like to me? It sounded like her black boyfriend, you know what I'm saying, who was a divester, who was a black woman hater, you know what I'm saying, told her everything to say, you know what I'm saying, because she had it down pat. You got to listen to it, man. When she break it down the way she was saying, talking about how I'm submissive, all of them, that sounds like something that a brother who hates sisters would say. You know what I'm saying? He laid there, he told her that, and she said it just the way that he wanted her to say it. That's what it sounded like to me. One of them type brothers passing that kind of mess down, just like you would hear from a white boy telling his black wife to say some shit. You know, a Candace Owens or a Susan Rice. You know what I'm saying? Or what's the name? What's her name? Running for vice president now. Kamala. You know what I'm saying? No, the same when she said, "I'm not gonna do nothing just for black folks." You know what I'm saying? and talk about rising tides and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? It sounded like it was something that their husbands told them. You know what I'm saying? It didn't sound like it came from them 100%. And to me, that didn't sound like it came from her 100%. It came from some old Negro, self-hating Negro, brainwashed Negro, whatever. Okay, that part said. I'm saying this. Okay, this whole thing about black women in America not being feminine. Okay, yeah, we could always point out to one or two cases. We could look at videos and see Sexy Red and Suki Hana and Megan Thee Stallion and all these old crazy ass females doing the stuff they doing. You know what I'm saying? And we could point, and we could generalize about black women in general, across the board. I think that that's dangerous. I mean, I grew up with a black woman as a mother. I grew up with black women as aunties, as cousins. All of every girlfriend that I've ever had was black. All of the women that I know today are black. And of course, if I'm looking for a sister who act like that, who fit that mold that the media try to portray, you can go find her. Coco, let me ask you and let me ask Buana. I want to ask y'all a question real quick. Y'all brothers from the Bahamas, you from a community where everybody is black. Everybody is black. I mean, the only white people y'all probably see is tourists, or a couple of people who may live there, in the country. What I'm saying. Okay, did you grow up seeing these type of women?
No.
Yeah, you didn't grow up seeing these kind of women. You know what I'm saying? And if you go around, and I think, boy, if you go around today, I mean, I I watch a lot of films about the Bahamas, and no look, independent films, people in the community, and I don't see Bahamian young women acting like that. Of course, you might have some here and there. I mean, when crop over and the festival come over, you see sisters out there half naked and shaking their ass and all of those stuff there. But I'm saying, but for the most part, I mean, most of the Bahamian young women that I've seen, were pretty respectable people, feminine people. And that's the same thing for the majority of black women in America that I've seen. Of course, you got food. Yeah, look, you got fools everywhere. Because I can lay there and tell you, look here, I can tell you this, it's a day, this dance where you see, check me out real quick, bear with me for a minute, Coco. I'm going somewhere. You got this dance where, every time you look on TikTok or you look on Facebook or you look on IG, you see sisters shaking their ass. They're shaking their ass like it's hot. But look here, I'm going to tell you something. They got a dance and it's in Tanzania. That's called a mapuka. You know what I'm saying? Where you will see Tanzanian sisters all day. And look here, that is by no mean all Tanzanian sisters. But I'm saying it's a popular dance, and they had a site that was from Tanzania where they do this mapuka dance, and you seeing sisters over there shaking their ass, making videos, shaking their ass all goddamn day. I mean, they got dresses on, but they shaking their ass all goddamn day. You could go across in South Africa particularly, because they pretty much have adopted a lot of this degenerate ass American culture. You know what I'm saying? And you see all that kind of mess. You see sisters scantily clad and doing all this kind of stuff. My point is, what I'm saying, this is not a thing that is just to black women in America. You know what I'm saying? Because we talking about black women. We ain't talking about nobody else. I mean, you see this all over. You can go to Nigeria, go to Ghana, and you see them doing the same things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got this sister, she's a singer from Nigeria. Her name is, not Nigeria, from Ghana. Her name is Wendy Shay. She do some of that scandalous ass stuff. You know what I'm saying? Tifa Savage, she do some of that stuff. So, I mean, when we get into this thing of one group of women are more feminine than the other, I have to kind of, okay, look here. I would concede, yeah, I think probably you could find more feminine women on the continent. You know what I'm saying? The women who from the traditional communities. Not necessarily the cities. What I'm saying, from the traditional communities. But what I'm saying is, it's just as much of that ratchet shit going over. They got drill music in Africa now. Man, I see the videos all the time. What I'm saying, we got to get out of this thing that pitting each other against each other. And not that nobody's doing it, but I'm just saying. But listen at me. Just listen at me. Not, I mean, like I'm saying, most black. It's just like they show. Look here, they show videos of black people acting a damn fool in America, and black people in Africa seeing it. They thought all of us like that. You know what I'm saying? Well, guess what else they also did? They showed videos to black people in America showing people in Liberia during the Civil War, disemboweling people. You know what I'm saying? They showed General butt naked. You know what I'm saying? They showed the Liberian commander who had a heart in his hand and said, "I'll eat you raw." You know what I'm saying? They showed a rape and all of that stuff in the Congo. They showed that what's his name was Fode, the warlord who was in Sierra Leone, who was hacking off people's hands. Okay, so now black people in America think, man, them damn Africans crazy as hell, man. All they do is run around hacking up people and eating people and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So this kind of mess went both ways. It went both ways. You know what I'm saying? Even right now today, what they showing? They showing you a Negro named Barbecue in Haiti. You know what I'm saying? Just think of that, a Negro named Barbecue. You know what I'm saying? No, he hacking up people. He hacking up. Yeah, he hacking up and killing people. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Stuff to dehumanize us and to manipulate your mind and make you think, yeah, man, it's a reason why our soldiers need to go down there and occupy Haiti. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason why our soldiers need to go over there and stop the terrorists over in the Sahel and stuff like that. I'm saying we can't let these kind of narratives that we see, and stuff like this white woman talking about how unfeminine black women is, how black women in America, black women everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Talking about how unfeminine they is and how loud they is and all that stuff. Man, y'all some Bahamian, y'all some West Indian brothers. You know what I'm saying? Y'all some African brothers from the West Indies, from Bahamian. Man, you can't let in and tell me that Bahamian sisters don't get loud in that marketplace. You can't tell me that they don't get loud and raise their voice. It's a mess going. I just looked at videos. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing in West Africa in the marketplace. And it's the same thing here. Yeah, black women loud. But what that got to do with them being unfeminine? You know what I'm saying? Man, I mean, the sweetest women that I ever met in my life was sisters, man. Sisters from my own community, sisters that I met from the Caribbean, and sisters that I met from Africa. But I'm just saying, I'm in it right here. To me, that's some shit that you'll see on O'Shea Duke. That ain't no Bitter Medicine podcast shit. You know what I'm saying? That's some shit that you see on O'Shea Duke Jackson show. That's some shit that you see with some of them Negroes who the other night I was looking at that show too. When Kobe was getting it to them FBA Negroes. You know what I'm saying? That's some shit that you see over there with all that old fussing and cussing and all this old Negro stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I knock off right there, man. I mean, we can't believe that, man. I mean, it ain't. I'm like Dr. Khaled. The cracker ain't never been right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I agree with that. I think Buono wanted to add something.
No, I think first of all I agree with Anthony because I could go outside right now and show you a whole bunch of ratchets, especially when the reggae music playing and what the hell they be doing. But I would say this. I think that the sisters in America get a bad rap because it's like the America tried to prize itself on this kind of puritanical ethic where women should be in a corner and they should never be expressive and they should never speak loudly. It comes from that whole religious background and religious thinking. But black African women, they always been expressive. They always, you know what I mean? They always been loud because African men loud too. You get them in a conversation. We are expressive people. You know, we have spirit to us and that's just how we are. As far as the degeneracy, I think that that's a Western thing. You know what I mean? I think it's spread all around the world. I think that as long as you are a good human being, a good mom, a good parent, a good, you know what I mean? You could be as expressive as you want to be. But I think that, like I said, I think that the Black American women, they get a bad rap because of Western white media, because we all of us have our ratchets, all of us have our good women, all of us have our bad women, all of us have our expressive women. Look at the thing what they do to Michelle Obama. They had Jesse Lee Peterson was calling her Big Mama Michelle, like she's some kind of ghetto kind of. I'm like, why would you do that to your? Well, I understand why he would do that, but they don't want the black women to be expressive. They don't want them to be boisterous. They want them in their place, like how the white man had his white woman forever. That's not how all our women operate. Some of our women are very loud, expressive. Some of our women are reserved. You have to respect people for who they are. As far as what they do sexually and things of that nature, that's their business. I don't like some of the shit, you know what I mean? But it is universal. Like Anthony was saying, it's not just in the United States and America. And I think that to pin it on just African American women is unfair. But this woman have an agenda. She have an agenda she is trying to meet out, and in saying the things that she is saying, I wouldn't take it too seriously, you know. But I understand why Anthony would be concerned about how African women, American women are being perceived around the world. I understand his concern, but I'll leave it there.
All right, thank you for that, Buana. There's no last thoughts on this prompt. That's the show for tonight. I want to thank everyone who participated on the panel tonight. Oni, Jose, Anthony, Buana. I want to thank everyone who was in the chat participating in no order. Trigger Happy and Afro Native World, Brother Bakari, Kofi was out there, the Hashwali podcast was out there, KW Don 7 was out there, Daily Affirmations by Pauline was out there. So I appreciate all of you. Before the panelists leave, and before you guys in the chat leave, I want you guys to give a shout out. Could be a straight up shout out or something positive that you saw this week in the African world. Shout out on your personal lives. Let's start with Oni on this one.
Oh dang! I kept trying to think. Well, I mean, it's always gonna be the Sahel states, I guess. I don't really know if there's anything new with regard to the Sahel states, but shout out to them. Matter of fact, you know what I would do? I'll say shout out to the Olympics, and not any particular country, because apparently no black country participated in this, but shout out to the African Americans because breakdancing was was an Olympic sport with only white people participating. So I didn't get it, but
is that true? Wow.
Actually, you know who I want to shout out? I want to shout out Nika. Say some white girl from Lithuania who wearing a do-rag. I look like a kid, I don't know, but she participated in the. I wouldn't want to shout out for a white person, but I would shout out that Nika. You know. Because you know that nigga was crazy. I just meant, but yeah, no. Shout out the Olympics featuring traditional black dance. You know, and they had that woman. I saw a video of this woman. I don't know, flailing on the floor, but apparently she had a PhD in cultural dances. I don't know. So, you know, shout out the Olympics for that. Hopefully, well, if it's there next year, I mean next time, 4 years from now. Hopefully some black people participate, because, you know, if that's who's competing, I might get me a medal. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I was shaking my head. By the way, thanks for that, Oni. I was looking at that shit and shaking my head, like you know, all the FBA ADOS types talking all this smack about this, that, and the other, but yet you guys are not representing for breakdancing. Come on, man. Come on. And you tell me you built this shit? That's what I had to listen to for a couple of years there straight. Come on now. Come on. But anyway, thank you for that, Oni. You guys make sure to subscribe to Oni's channel. Jose, what would you like to shout out this week? You're muted if you're talking.
Yes, I was muted. I don't know who was it that said yesterday was the 10 years Michael Brown. So rest in peace, Michael Brown. I'm sorry that we put another face on the Black Lives Matter movement. Should have been you. And that's it.
Appreciate you, Jose. Thanks for coming through and hanging out with us. Anthony, what would you like to shout out this week?
Man, the dude only crazy as hell, lady, man. Talk about that break dance. Yeah. Yeah, I was disgusted when I seen that shit. I was like, Tariq Nasheed, where you at now? Where you at, you motherfucker? But no, man, I just want to give a shout out to man, to the brothers and sisters at the Great Brawl, man. You know the brawl, you know, back in what, the Montgomery Brawl.
Yeah.
You know, in Alabama, it was a year ago on the 6th, on the 6th or the 7th, you know. There was like the 1 year anniversary of it, man, you know, and I just want to give a shout out to Black people finally coming together, even if it was something real small, you know what I'm saying, and joining together and helping the brother, you know, helping one of us
That
do
boy
something.
swimming.
Yeah, you know, yeah. They call him they got a name, they call it with Cinco de Negro. But yeah, man, I just want to, you know, it just happened. The 1 year anniversary was just a couple of days ago, man. And I want to give a shout out to that, man, and a shout out to all of the Black athletes from Black nations who won Olympic gold medals, man. And a great show tonight, man. Thank you, Koku, for allowing me on the show.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you for being here. Last but not least, Buana, what would you like to shout out this week?
Yo, I'm trying to see if I can find the Nika lady. Is that an actual person? Because I'm trying to see if I can. Because Udi say she was on the ground flailing.
No. That nigga had skills. What kind of skills? But that nigga was all right. It was the lady from
man, I gotta see that.
Netherlands. No, not Netherlands. Some other country, but she was flailing. Maybe like Canada or Australia.
Man, I gotta see that.
Yeah, you gotta see it.
Watch that.
I never watched the Olympics, but I did see some of them clips because somebody said the Netherlands lady was all right, but I never saw her.
Man, yeah, man. Yeah, shout out to the Olympic team. All the Caribbean people and the American people. They did excellent as usual. You know, they did get their medals. So shout out to all the Black folks running for white countries and the Black folks running for semi-Black countries who call themselves Black countries but really colonialized countries. But shout out to them for practicing and training and showing, having Black excellence on display. I think that is needed from time to time, even though it only happened every 4 years, unfortunately, all over the world. Shouts out to all the brothers and sisters who participated and did well in the Olympics. I'll leave it there.
I appreciate that, Buana. Shout out to all of you who participated. I'm going to give a shout out this week to my son. My 17-year-old son is heading off to college in the morning. He's going to an HBCU. So a shout out to him.
Big up.
Hey, congratulations to Koku's son, man.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. Congrats. Yes. You all remember to hit the cash app this week. Koku, I get you at the end of the week. You know how that go. But you all remember to hit the cash app for Koku's son. Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, hit the cash app, man. We'll be back next week unless something comes up. But you know me, I'll probably be back here next week. Hopefully, you guys will be here with me too. Until then, you guys be good. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.